In a corner of the school that is rarely passed by students or teachers, 3 delinquent high school boys have finished reading a webtoon on their leader's cell phone. He feels bored with the current webtoon, because the theme given is always monotonous and boring. The story is always about a geeky, bullied man suddenly becomes strong and beat up those who hurted him. The 3 of them believe that nowadays, there is no more bullying as told in the webtoon. Meanwhile, Kim So-Hyun, who became the main character of this webtoon, was ordered to keep them from being noticed by the teachers while they relax and smoke. Ironically, those who said there is no bullying at school actually bullied Kim So-Hyun and robbed his money. Of course, Kim So-Hyun, who is very introverted, can only obey those who bully him. Kim So-Hyun only hopes that there is someone who can stop all this bullying. He regretted his weakness and inability to fight his bullies. Then he remembered a webtoon that is currently trending, where the main character can become stronger because he completed quests and receive XP points just like in a game. As the story progresses, the main character is able to upgrade himself and become stronger. So-Hyun hopes he can do the same. He wished that his fate is the same as that main character. Desperate, hoping to have the same fate as the main character of the webtoon, he tries to summon quest windows. He kept screaming out quest windows for dozens of times until his throat hurt. But of course, nothing happened. Hopeless. So-Hyun sat down limply. He knows he is not a character in a web novel or webtoon. He also understands that such a thing is impossible to happen in the real world. However, suddenly a system quest window appeared before his eyes. This quest windows was like a hologram appearing in midair. On its monitor, there's a single question. Do you want to start the quest? Kim. So-Hyun was surprised to see this. He didn't expect such a thing can suddenly happen to him. Then the scene changed as Kim So-Hyun returned his class. He sat down in his seat and he began to think that the common high school students were divided into 2 types, the popular kids and the loners. If they are active and outgoing enough, then they are the popular kids. But if they are shy and introverted, then they are the loners. These 2 words replace the actual truthful terms these people are known for, the bullies and the losers. These changes is advantageous for Kim So-Hyun, as he would rather be called a loner than a loser. He called up the quest windows. Then a mission window suddenly popped up and said, "Do you want to start the quest?" Previously, So-Hyun had repeatedly closed and opened the windows during class lessons. He had done it at least 300 times. The thing that made him hesitate was because it was so illogical. When So-Hyun decided to accept the quest and press yes on the Windows screen, because this is a hologram, he instead pressed a girl's belly. The girl named Baek Charon considers this a sexual harassment. So-Hyun wanted to explain that he only wanted to touch the quest windows, but before he can explain it, So-Hyun was slapped by Charon, who said that So-Hyun is a creepy nerd. Charon continued to said, "Feet are beautiful, and thanks to these feats, she has 20,000 followers on Insta. So if she falls on the way to the canteen and injured her leg, then it's So-Hyun's responsibility." Thus, Charon told So-Hyun to buy food for her. Because he didn't want to complicate matters, So-Hyun complied. He wanted to ask Charon for the money, but Charon said she was crazy and thought she didn't want to give him money, pointing at her feet. When he was on his way to the cafeteria, Chang-dong suddenly hit So-Hyun's neck with his arm while saying, "Stop bullying at school. It's very strange people who bully actually say to stop bullying." Inside his heart, So-Hyun promised to himself that he will unmask them all, including Charon. So-Hyun looked at Chang-dong sharply because he felt very annoyed, but Chang-dong also stared back at So-Hyun with a very scary look. Out of fear, So-Hyun instead apologized. As soon as he arrived home, So-Hyun asked his mother to move him into a different school with loud and fiery tone, but his mother did not allow it. Actually, So-Hyun felt guilty toward his mother, because only to his mother could he use a loud tone. He didn't dare stand up to the naughty kids at school, but he can yell at his mother very loudly. Thus, So-Hyun said that he would rather quit school than study there, and start his career as a YouTuber. So-Hyun's younger sister named Kim Da-hyun laughed and mocked her cowardly brother. Because his wish was not obeyed, So-Hyun went to his room and shutting his bedroom door loudly, which made his mother angry. When he was lying on his bed, he felt his life was not worth it. Pondering about his sad existence, So-Hyun reopened the quest windows and pressed yes. After that, the windows displays the contents that said, "If you start the quest, you will get a card as a reward." Then, the quest tutorial begins, where he is told to apologize to his mother, and the prize is 1 gold card. Because there was gold in the prize, So-Hyun thought it could be sold. Then the quest windows popped up a message containing the types of cards he could get as a reward. There's bronze, silver, gold, and actually there's more, but So-Hyun doesn't care. The thing he was questioning, can gold cards be sold? So-Hyun then made up his mind and then went to apologize to his mother. Seeing his brother apologizing like that, Da-Hyun thought her brother went crazy, and she proposed to take So-Hyun to a mental hospital. After apologizing, the quest windows issued a notification. You have completed the tutorial quest and got a gold card as a special reward for completing the tutorial quest. So-Hyun returned to his room. He was still wondering, if she got a gold card, it can be sold for 10,000 won. He also tried to look at the cards, then a review order for a gold card window appeared in front of him. This gold card functions to increase the user's height by 3 centimeters with a note. After use, the card will disappear. Do you want to use this card? So-Hyun chose to use it. After that, he returned to the living room where his mother and sister were, shouting with joy as he said, "Mother, my height has increased by 3 centimeters." Meanwhile, Da-Hyun thought her brother was crazy. So-Hyun was excited as he further explained that he was previously 168 centimeters, and now he's 171 centimeters. However, his mother didn't take this seriously, and only apologized for being angry at him before. Hearing this made So-Hyun realize that his mother apologized to him because this was the first time he apologized to his mother. Even though at school he often apologized to his bullies, no one turned to apologize to him. Because of this, he felt very warm and happy. The next day at school, So-Hyun is happy with his growing height. People gossip about how tall he is. Hearing that, he became even more happy, but he wondered why the windows didn't show up today. Suddenly a new quest appeared. The reward was 1 silver card and 1 gold card. The current reward was even better than before. So-Hyun was excited because he thought that the quest would be as easy as yesterday. But the quest turns out to be Kiss Charon with a time limit until after school is over. The quest is still a tutorial type quest. Shocked by his quest, his shoulder collided with Charon's. Charon was angry and wanted to slap So-Hyun but didn't because she had heard that some people like to be slapped. Charon left while cursing obscene human. Meanwhile, So-Hyun felt this was an impossible mission and wanted to give up on this mission, but a warning notification pops up from Windows, stating that if So-Hyun gives up on a mission, all the prizes he received will be taken again and the quest windows will never appear again forever. Because he didn't want his height to shrink anymore, So-Hyun was determined to complete this mission. Even though he previously had the determination, until now he still has not found a way out. The words kiss kept coming out of his mouth. Suddenly a voice sounded, "Do you want to be kissed?" from beside him. So-Hyun immediately felt it was from Charon. But it turned out that the voice was from So-Hyun's classmate, who looked very old and looked like a Yakuza. The Yakuza offered to kiss him if So-Hyun didn't mind him, with a serious expression that could make anyone scared just by looking at his face. So-Hyun was surprised to see the Yakuza's face covered in wounds. Turns out he just got beat up by a bully. Then the Yakuza asked why So-Hyun kept saying kiss kiss, and So-Hyun said, "Let's just say I got a mission to kiss a woman." Then So-Hyun asked the Yakuza's opinion about it. According to the Yakuza, he would tell the truth and ask the girl directly. To So-Hyun, the suggestion was considered hopeless. For So-Hyun, he would never be able to ask Charon to kiss him directly. The Yakuza gave another suggestion. Why not pay for a kiss? Felt the suggestion was satisfactory, but it could not be carried out because both of them had little money. After that, this time the Yakuza gave reasonable advice, where to look for opportunities to be alone with the woman in question. Looking for an opportunity to be alone with Charon? So-Hyun, who knew Charon had never attended sports lessons, she also skipped classes at that time on the grounds that she wasn't feeling well. During gym class, as expected, Charon stayed in class. Charon Yang woke up from sleep, saw So-Hyun who was also in class. He mocked So-Hyun and asked to buy strawberry milk. It turned out that So-Hyun had prepared it and placed it on Charon's table. Charon thinks So-Hyun is loyal. When Charon wanted to drink it, So-Hyun suddenly took her strawberry milk and drank it first. After that say, "Have you ever kissed anyone?" Previously Charon was angry, but So-Hyun immediately said he was joking and was just curious. Meanwhile, So-Hyun's earlier words were apparently recorded by So-Hyun's gang of bullies. They laughed while mocking So-Hyun, who they thought liked Charon. So-Hyun asked to delete the video, but Chang-dong said it was funny. So-Hyun-pun asked to delete it in a louder tone. That made Chang-dong punch So-Hyun right in the face and said, all of this was just a joke. He hit So-Hyun again, this time slapping her on the cheek saying, "We want to be close to you." When he wanted to slap So-Hyun hard, it was stopped by Charon, and Charon also ordered to delete the video too. Chang-dong strangely followed Charon's words, After that, he asked Charon permission to go smoke. It turns out that they didn't actually record them. They just wanted to bully Su-Hyeon. Then Charon saw Su-Hyeon, who was sad. She also asked Su-Hyeon to just go home instead of being beaten more than this. When she got home, Su-Hyeon cried because her mission had not been completed and felt that going to school today would only bring bad luck. Besides, his broken glasses made him think about what reason he should tell his mother. Su-Hyeon feels that her mission has failed and she will return to 168 centimeters. He was lying face up. His vision was now blurry because he didn't wear glasses. Suddenly, a notification from the Windows Quest appears notifying the mission was successful. It turned out that it was because Charon touched the straw used with her mouth, and Charon realized when she touched it. With the success of this quest, Su-Hyeon got 1 gold and silver card each. Then he opened both cards. The gold card functions so that he can see. After using the card, the vision that was blurry is now clear. Su-Hyeon instantly happy. Then Su-Hyeon opened her silver card. She was surprised and felt this silver card was too good. Su-Hyeon came out of the room and shouted, "My eyes are healthy." But only Da-Hyun was there. He told her to be quiet and eat quietly. Da-Hyun told their mother they would be late coming home because of the night shift. After that, he taunted his brother. Seeing his brother's bruised face, he knew that his brother had just been punched, and he also asked what happened to his glasses. Su-Hyeon shared that her eyesight had improved, and after that told Da-Hyun to stop asking about it. The next day at school, he was again taught by Chan-dong. He wonders why Su-Hyeon still goes to school after yelling at him yesterday. Chang-dong's friends also thought that maybe Su-Hyeon didn't feel like trash, because you can't allow this, so he returned to teaching Su-Hyeon brutally. On the other hand, Su-Hyeon's classmates could only look down and see, but because the bell was about to ring, they asked them to come out. Before leaving, he told Su-Hyeon to meet him this afternoon. Su-Hyeon returned to her seat. Yakuza apologized to Su-Hyeon for not being able to help her. But that doesn't matter to Su-Hyeon. Besides that, they have made an agreement where if one of them is taught, the other cannot interfere. It's an unwritten rule for bullies, and it applies to this school as well. Su-Hyeon was so sorry, he shouldn't have asked about kissing Charon. Then he bowed his head to the table with the excuse that he wanted to sleep. But actually, Su-Hyeon lamented her life while crying. After class was over, Su-Hyeon went to Chan-dong to apologize. Chang-dong felt strange. Why are you the one apologizing? While slapping Su-Hyeon back, he dropped his cigarette and told Su-Hyeon to pick it up. While picking it up, Da-Hyun happened to pass by and asked what you were doing. Su-Hyeon could not explain it. Chan-dong also asked, "Who is he?" "He is my sister," answered Su-Hyeon. I don't know why Chan-dong's girl became soft in front of him. He explains that this is a misunderstanding and he is the one who actually smokes. Su-Hyeon tries to take it so that he and Su-Hyeon don't get in trouble. Su-Hyeon also confirmed it. After that, Chan-dong and Su-Hyeon left, but because he felt he had saved Su-Hyeon, he asked Su-Hyeon to talk about his sister. When he got to the toilet, Su-Hyeon told him that he was not close to his sister, plus his sister told him not to talk to him at school. But Chang-dong didn't care, and instead asked to be introduced to her, while holding Su-Hyeon's arm with his dirty hands after urinating. Su-Hyeon rejects him by reasoning that his sister is the worst. But Chan-dong didn't care, and said Da-Hyun looked delicious. Su-Hyeon looked like she was going to get angry, when she was about to ask. Suddenly the Yakuza, who was still wearing shorts, opened the toilet door and said Chan-dong's words were too much. Chan-dong instantly punched the Yakuza and beat him to the punch. Meanwhile, Su-Hyeon called Chan-dong and said, "Hi, you trash." Chang-dong got angry and walked towards Su-Hyeon and tried to punch him. Unexpectedly, Su-Hyeon managed to punch him right in the face. It turns out that the silver card he got earlier functions to be able to jab, which has a vulnerable level from 0 to 100. After landing one hit, a Windows quest reappears. This time a new mission has been made, in which Su-Hyeon has to defeat Chang-dong. The prize is 1 silver card and 1 bronze card. He then said he would teach Chan-dong how to really enjoy, with a serious expression and a ready-to-fight stance. Chan-dong, who hasn't fallen with just 1 punch, finds this interesting like a drama. Su-Hyeon was a little hesitant to see Chan-dong, who had a serious expression. Chang-dong wanted to throw a punch, but Su-Hyeon came back quickly to jab him in the face. Chang-dong was shocked by that, feeling that Su-Hyeon had secretly learned boxing. Angry with all this, Chan-dong again swinging his fist at Su-Hyeon, again right in the face of Chang-dong. Not just once, Su-Hyeon punched Chan-dong many times. Yakuza saw that was shocked. Meanwhile, Su-Hyeon's fists hit Chang-dong and he fainted. Su-Hyeon sat on the fainted Chan-dong. With this, the quest to beat Chang-dong was successful. plus proficiency with the jab has increased. Seeing Chandong knocked out by So-Hyun made the Yakuza feel like there was trouble. Therefore, he asked So-Hyun to leave there. After running from the toilet, they got to the back of the school building to hide. The reason why Chandong is called terrible is because he acts in groups. With this defeat, his group will make a mess at school. Then the Yakuza asked when So-Hyun learned boxing. So-Hyun made excuses that she only learned from YouTube. So-Hyun remembered the so-called proficiency increase on quest windows when she was doing a quest. It turned out that her jab skill status was now rank F, with a point increase of 97-100 points. Wonders. What would happen if his points were 100? When he said he wanted to check the prizes, the Yakuza overheard him and asked, "What was that prize?" With a serious expression, So-Hyun also reasoned. He spoke alone. When he saw the gift card, So-Hyun was surprised by the gift. Suddenly, Chaerin and her friend came to see So-Hyun, thinking Chaerin was looking for her to take her to the Changdong gang. But no, Chaerin said that the kids were looking for So-Hyun, so she asked So-Hyun to just go home, and she would pretend she didn't see So-Hyun. Long story short, So-Hyun was caught by Chandong's group and made it to their class. They found it funny that Chandong could be knocked unconscious by a geek's punch. The Yakuza wanted to stop them, but he was immediately punched in the face. Meanwhile, So-Hyun's classmates could only watch in fear. On the other hand, So-Hyun thinks what should hit them quickly and leave after. The leader of Gang High School is said to be a monster who ruled Class 3, with his fists right after entering the school. While thinking that it turns out that Gohan came earlier, their accomplice said, "Who was the man who hit Changdong?" While laughing out of disbelief but with a sharp gaze made him silent. Changdong also showed himself. After that he asked So-Hyun, "Is it true that you hit him?" So-Hyun, who bowed down, wrote to hold his head up, and So-Hyun said he was the one who hit. Hajun asked why So-Hyun. "He insulted my family first," answered So-Hyun. Hajun said you did well and asked So-Hyun to hit him too. If it felt appropriate, then Hajun promised to go because he had no other choice. So-Hyun will do it. Before that, he remembers the previous 2 gift cards. The silver card is a recovery bean which functions to restore stamina. Can be used once a day, while the high-pitched brown card can emit a high-pitched sound. So-Hyun felt that buying peanuts later would be useful, while he gave the order to punch him. Immediately returned to attack him repeatedly, but no one hit. When the last attack was about to be launched, Hajun first headed towards So-Hyun, which made So-Hyun faint lying on the floor. So-Hyun felt she would be finished, but Hajun didn't. Instead, he asked So-Hyun to go smoke a cigarette, which made So-Hyun dumbfounded. So-Hyun was at the Hajun group's hangout. Hajun gave him a cigarette, but So-Hyun refused because he doesn't smoke. Right now, So-Hyun thinks Hajun is a cruel asshole because after hitting him in class and will finish him in this place, and feels the rumors about Hajun being cruel is true. But unexpectedly, he instead apologized because So-Hyun hit more than he thought. So he unknowingly counterattacked. So-Hyun was shocked by the apology. Besides that, Hajun praised So-Hyun's fist. Arriving at home, Su-Hyun felt that Hajun was hiding something because what he heard was that Hajun was a terrible person. But instead he apologized and praised So-Hyun. So-Hyun was wondering what the quest this time was to defeat Hajun. But no new missions appear. Apart from that, the quest is still in the tutorial stage. Then he saw all his gift cards. Everything to do with fighting in class. The next day, Changdong came to see So-Hyun immediately asked Changdong's purpose while taking a fighting stance. It turned out that Changdong only conveyed a message from Hajun saying, "See you after school." So-Hyun immediately felt he would be finished. Then he asked what he should do to the Yakuza. "If you don't come, you better quit school starting tomorrow," said the Yakuza. Having no other choice, So-Hyun went to a bar where Hajun was hanging out there, complete with liquor and cigarettes. Besides that, the famous people in school were also there, treating her well. Meanwhile, the girls there don't know So-Hyun. Then Chaerin suddenly came there, asking why So-Hyun came here. So-Hyun replied that he was asked by Hajun here. He who saw it immediately said that So-Hyun was his new friend and asked him to sing. Actually can't sing, but he had to do it, and he activated the high note card. Unexpectedly, the singing amazed the people there, including Chaerin and Hajun. He also felt embarrassed because the students there saw him and praised his voice. Knowing that Hajun didn't hit her made So-Hyun feel happy and think the rumors about Hajun were fake. Besides that, he is also good. The next day, for the first time, So-Hyun felt happy going to school. Previously, Hajun said to tell him if something happened to So-Hyun. Even now, no new quests appear. Then So-Hyun met Hajun, asked him to walk together to school. Suddenly a Windows quiz pops up saying the quest tutorial has been completed. The main quest will start. The reward for completing the main quest first is a platinum card. Cards higher than gold. So-Hyun thought the quest would be difficult according to what he thought. It turned out that the quest was to defeat the leader of Gangbokseo High School, with a vulnerable time of 3 days. Then a Windows notification appears. When the main quest is executed, additional quests will be activated. You can get more cards from now on. While running the main quiz, another quest will appear. Seo-Hyun while thinking about this difficult quest during recess. Seo-Hyun and Yakuza were eating in the canteen, thinking what he should do. At first he met Hajun, thanks to quest, and thanks to that also his school time became normal. The Yakuza asked in a whisper, "Why did he eat with us?" "Because he liked it," Seo-Hyun answered. Another thought also emerged from Seo-Hyun. Maybe the Hajun was pretending, even though he has bad rumors, but he is a good friend who will protect Seo-Hyun. Then Hajun went first after finishing eating. While thinking about the quest, So-Hyun thinks of an idea where he won't do the quest, because now Hajul is his friend. Besides that, Seo-Hyun's goal is just a normal school life. So-Hyun happily went to Hajun's place. When he got there, he instead saw Hajun who was beating someone brutally. "Do you think he's a good person?" said one who was leaning against the wall behind. So-Hyun told that the reason was because Chandong didn't fully get money from students who were dialect. Changdong had a problem with students in groups, and all of the Palak money from these students had to be in the sector to Hajun. He advised So-Hyun what the real Hajun was like, and he left after. Saw So-Hyun who came, he greeted him. Then So-Hyun asked, "Why are you taking care of me?" "It is because you are good at boxing, and before meeting you, there were only insects," Hajun answered. Before he met So-Hyun, the students near Hajun were just weak people. From that answer, So-Hyun knows who Hajun really is. After thinking about it, So-Hyun will lose her jab technique if quest fails, and one day she will find out Seo-Hyun isn't that good at punching anymore. From there, Hajun would not treat Seo-Hyun like a human again. Hajun's previous answer could only be replied by Seo-Hyun by saying she was touched. In the evening, So-Hyun practiced using his jab. He was determined not to give up so easily. But he still doesn't know how he can win. He only has jabs to fight, and previously all of So-Hyun's fists were avoided by Hajun. Thinking about that makes So-Hyun pessimistic about not winning. Then came a group of 5 high school kids who would yell at So-Hyun, saying that she didn't have any money. It made them angry, and one of them immediately swung his fist at Seo-Hyun. With his jab, So-Hyun managed to hit him in the face first. So-Hyun was surprised by her own reflex, so she apologized for that. After jab, a Windows Quest notification pops up saying Jap's skill level has increased. Seo-Hyun could feel the change. The man who was hit earlier got angry and punched So-Hyun again able to do jab to his face. Jap this time felt faster and stronger than before. So-Hyun returned several punches. After that, he made blood come out of the man's nose. Seeing his friend being beaten, they were angry with Seo-Hyun. With this, a new additional quest appears which contains defeating 5 baddies. The prize is a silver card with a note. There are hidden conditions, but because this is an additional mission, so you cannot do it. So-Hyun had wanted to just give up on this mission, but because she already had the determination to beat Hajun, she couldn't help but face these 5 people, even though she was actually scared too. The previously beaten person then returned, swinging his fist hard and fast right at his chin, which made the person drop instantly. His friends called out to him, but he was still unconscious. With this, one enemy has lost because of him who hasn't regained consciousness, even though his friends keep on resuscitating him. So-Hyun felt like she had killed someone, but luckily, one of them said she fainted. So-Hyun was relieved to hear that, and So-Hyun knew that if he aimed right at the chin hard, it could make his opponent faint. Their anger peaked knowing that their friend had fainted. Therefore, So-Hyun ran first while he was thinking of a suitable place for him to fight alone against many people. Until So-Hyun ran into a dead-end alley. There, So-Hyun felt she could beat them, but their stamina had now been drained, so they knew So-Hyun's stamina was weak and could only use a jab. But So-Hyun ate the restorer beans. Instantly, So-Hyun's stamina immediately recovered. Then one of them attacked. Seo-Hyun was again able to hit him again and again. Now 2 of them had lost. Meanwhile, So-Hyun felt her body had adapted to the jab. Besides that, he can attack at will, which makes him think he can defeat Hajun. Then one by one they were knocked down by So-Hyun's jab, which hit their chins. With this, additional quests were successfully completed, as well as completing hidden conditions, where the hidden condition is to win without getting hit by a single hit, aka perfect. And because you have completed the hidden conditions, the card prize that was silver was upgraded to a gold card. So-Hyun opened the gold card. He was confused by its function. So far, the function of this gold card has not been shown. Only 8 hours left to defeat Hajun. So-Hyun was confused about how to win against the rumored undefeated Hajun. So far, the cards he has are 4, a Restorer Bean, a Jab, a High Pitch, and a gold card of his former reward whose function has not been shown. So-Hyun is determined to win. Otherwise, she will go back to her old life, which was chairing being bullied. Saw So-Hyun with a flat expression that could make people afraid. Yakuza said, "Do you want me to kiss you?" Actually, the Yakuza intended to joke, but that was not supported by his looks and flat tone of voice. Then the Yakuza asked, "Did something happen?" So-Hyun answered that it was because Hajun thought he had to protect the Yakuza, because the Yakuza always helped him, which made him beat himself. Hearing the word Hajun, the Yakuza looked worried, because they feel that the Yakuza have helped them a lot and have not thanked them properly. So So-Hyun sincerely thanked the Yakuza. The Yakuza were confused by the thanks, and suddenly Hajun came and took So-Hyun to the cafeteria. In So-Hyun's mind, he was thinking about how he would start fighting with Hajun. But before that, he had to go to the cafeteria first. Before going to the canteen, one of So-Hyun's classmates accidentally soiled Hajun's clothes with his ice cream. This made Hajun immediately hit him. He made the people in class shocked. While clutching Hajun's collar, So-Hyun visited him, who said, "Woy," with a very sad face and asked him to stop his heinous actions. Apart from being prepared to fight, Hajun's response was unexpected. He instead held So-Hyun's head like it was being rubbed. By saying So-Hyun is a loyal person, he misinterpreted that So-Hyun was angry because he had beaten up his classmate. So he asked So-Hyun not to be mad at him because of a fellow friend. After that, took So-Hyun to the canteen. He didn't even have time to reply. In sports class, people were gossiping about So-Hyun, who provoked a fight with Hajun. But Hyun doesn't want to fight with him, really considering him as a friend. Meanwhile, it's mid-time to beat Hajun, only 2 hours left, and feel he might be bullied soon. While talking with the Yakuza, Charon approached So-Hyun. He shared that he heard a rumor that was spreading fast at school about So-Hyun provoking a relationship with Hajun. Charon asked if So-Hyun wanted to beat Hajun. "I don't know." Hearing that Charon thought So-Hyun was funny, because he was annoyed to see Hajun hitting someone, then he asked, "Why are you hanging out with a figure like Go Hajun? You helped me when I was bothered by Changdong and told about Hajun. Are you doing all this to help me? And also you are not buying someone else? You seem like a good person." Charon said that she was comfortable just hanging out with them. Continued by saying, "What kind of answer do you want?" Besides thinking Charon thinks of him like a friend. But the woman who thinks So-Hyun misunderstands by assuming she likes So-Hyun. Therefore he asked So-Hyun not to go too far. He also apologized for that and said, "I thought you were my friend." When Charon was about to leave, suddenly one of So-Hyun's classmates gave bad news, where the Yakuza were looking for poison in his hangout. It turned out that the Yakuza had left while So-Hyun was talking to Charon. Meanwhile, Hajun Yakuza hangs out, ordering Hajun to call before him. Hajun's subordinates laughed at the order. One of his subordinates tried to hit him, but Hajun stopped him from coming. Suddenly Hajul asked, "Why did you come looking for me?" "Don't bother So-Hyun," said the Yakuza seriously. The Yakuza thought that John had bought So-Hyun. Because of that, Hajun did not accept it and immediately beat the Yakuza with one slap, and he was a friend. Then Hajun again beat up the Yakuza because he hated to see his face like an old man. After that, Hajun warned the Yakuza not to be with So-Hyun anymore, because this world has ranks, and Yakuza are not considered on the same level as So-Hyun. The battered Yakuza doesn't care about Hajun's words and says, "If you think she's your friend for reasons of strength, So-Hyun probably won't see you as a friend." Right after those words, a jab hit Hajun in the face. But there were no scratches or blood coming out of his face, and he was a little surprised by So-Hyun. Meanwhile, So-Hyun says if it wasn't for the Yakuza, she wouldn't have survived this harsh school life. Because Yakuza helps when bullied, even though in the end he gets hit too. On the other hand, news about So-Hyun fighting with Hajun behind the school has spread. The students thought So-Hyun was crazy for daring to challenge Hajun, and thought the fight would only turn into a massacre. In droves, they went to the scene. Charon went there and was surprised to see that the news was true. So-Hyun returns to confirm whether he wants to fight with Hajun, who considers So-Hyun his friend. However, he says, his only friends at school are Yakuza. Meanwhile, So-Hyun remembers the gold card she got before. An attack-type card with the name of an additional strength card functions to increase strength in 5 seconds. Then So-Hyun said, "I will beat you in 5 seconds." The students who heard that were sure So-Hyun was really crazy for a start. He directed his jab at Hajun's face. Hajun can avoid it. It didn't stop there. So-Hyun made a barrage of ready-made barrages of students watching them. Really felt like they saw a boxing fight. They also didn't expect So-Hyun's greatness because Ha-jun just avoided it, so their prejudice was that So-Hyun would win. People started expecting Ha-jun to lose, but Kang-dong said he felt weird towards So-Hyun, because when he fought him and against Ha-jun, he only used jabs. Meanwhile, So-Hyun looks exhausted. Ha-jun immediately hit So-Hyun's stomach, while Su-Hyun hit him. That one punch made So-Hyun hurt, and from that attack, Ha-jun. He knew that So-Hyun could only jab. With a hurting stomach, So-Hyun said, "I only need 5 minutes to win." But this time, Ha-jun hit So-Hyun right in the face. He made So-Hyun fall to the ground with a messy face. Then So-Hyun got up and ran to catch Ha-jun screaming for 5 seconds. He hit So-Hyun again. He was surprised by what So-Hyun did. Thought if So-Hyun wanted to wrestle, then it would be impossible because of their weight difference. No matter how many times he fell and was hit, So-Hyun tried to keep getting closer to Ha-jun, until finally he could embrace Ha-jun. After that, he ate the restoration bean, and his stamina recovered. Meanwhile, Ha-jun is annoyed with what So-Hyun is doing. He tried to let go of So-Hyun's hand that was holding him but couldn't. In addition, he also cannot move. It turns out this was caused by So-Hyun activating additional power from her gold card. The additional power of the card is to increase the weight to 100 kilograms, within 5 seconds, which can be used only once a day. Coupled with So-Hyun's initial weight of 56 kilograms, the weight becomes 156 kilograms. With that weight, he managed to lift Ha-jun. Their audience was completely shocked. Then he threw the Ha-jun on the ground. It didn't stop there. So-Hyun took off his jacket, crossed the straps of his singlet, and launched a barrage of attacks on Ha-jun's face, until the time for using additional power was up. Ha-jun, who was lying on the ground with a messy face, admitted his defeat. Right with that word So-Hyun, the main quest was successfully completed. On the side of the audience, they were shocked they couldn't believe what they saw, who realized they only remembered the prize. The next day, the school looked conducive, and the students talked casually. Meanwhile, Ha-jun was not seen attending school. They hoped he would not be able to go to school forever. They did not think that a Ha-jun could be defeated by a single person. Moreover, someone is a loser like Kim So-Hyun. While gossiping about it, one of the students told them to be quiet, because the new headmaster would be passing by. Meanwhile, instead of being proud or pretending to be cool, Su-Hyun instead stammered at the gossip of the students who said he was the new school leader. Because he could not stand it, he went to the toilet. There So-Hyun saw a platinum card from the reward of defeating Ha-jun. He opened it. It's a peak card. Apart from not knowing the function of this card, Yakuza came out of there asking about So-Hyun's chatter. Know what the answer? Then they walked down the hall of the classroom. Remember the cold running down So-Hyun's cheeks? The students whispered about So-Hyun beating Ha-jun. One of the girls said she looks like a good kid. But the other girl said rumors that So-Hyun's face was just a trick to ambush girls and it was very sneaky. Other baseless rumors also sounded in So-Hyun's ear. Starting from Ha-jun, who entered the ICU, So-Hyun, who also hit Ha-jun's father, to the results of the MBTI test, which said So-Hyun was a psychopath. Not only So-Hyun, the Yakuza were also hit by strange rumors like he wasn't actually a student. He was already 48 years old, to the son of a Yakuza. As for those who say Yakuza is So-Hyun's right hand, who used to decide their rank after fighting for 3 days and 3 nights. When he was about to say all this was a misunderstanding, So-Hyun instead bumped into a group of people, with the look of a thug taller than a dumbfounded So-Hyun. Seeing them, their lead confirmed. "Are you Kim So-Hyun, the one who beat Sunbae Ha-jun?" "Yes, but I didn't do anything wrong," she replied. After knowing So-Hyun, they quickly lowered their heads and saluted So-Hyun. Their leader named Lee Hyun-dong. He was the leader of grade 1 children. He was surprised and asked why they were respectful. He says it's because So-Hyun is now the head of Gang High School. So it's only natural that he saluted like this. Because many people saw that So-Hyun told him not to do this kind of greeting, and also didn't want to become a high school leader. So-Hyun just wanted to come to school normally. Hearing that, Hyun-jong thought his group was dumped. Not only that, he told them to leave and didn't want to get involved with them. So Hyun also wonders who they really are. The Yakuza told that he was led by a grade 1 boy named Lee Hyun-dong, before they were followers of Ha-jun. And maybe Ha-jun felt they were a nuisance. They used to follow Ha-jun with one goal, but because Ha-jun, who was that strong, lost to So-Hyun, they looked for So-Hyun for a new leader for their goal. Besides that, He is the sibling of Lee Hyun-do from Jiwo High School. Then So-Hyun asked what their goal was, and their goal was to unite the bullied high schools, divided into 4 high schools who wanted to expand their power with each other. But Ha-jun was not interested in uniting everything, and Lee Hyun-dong had different thoughts. In other words, he wants to unite Gangbu with So-Hyun. From that explanation, So-Hyun doesn't want to get involved with them. Meanwhile, Hyun-dong and his subordinates looked weak at So-Hyun's rejection just now. Back to So-Hyun when she thought about her school life that would be normal. Suddenly the Windows quiz appeared by bringing up a new main quest quiz called Mastering Gangbok Seo High School, with 3 quests to get prizes. The first order wins Gangbu High School freshmen, the second and third are still a mystery. So-Hyun, who couldn't refuse this quest, could only surrender. Otherwise everything he got so far will disappear, and he will return to his old life. Therefore, he called Hyun-dong's group back and said that he would rule Gangbu High School from now on, with an expression that looked resigned. On the side of the Hyun-do group, they shouted happily. Then with resignation, Su-Hyun said, "It's nice to see you happy with tears flowing." From there, So-Hyun became the leader of Gangbuk High School. When you get to class, what will happen next? He just wants a normal life. Then he thought all the missions he got because of times like this, so he stopped to think about everything. Then So-Hyun remembered peak cards still not used. Actually, he wanted to use it today, but was interrupted by the first grader earlier. Then Charon came and sat on So-Hyun's bench. Charon asked what he was going to do. "Because rumors say So-Hyun wants to rule Gang High School, Mom, don't you think? But you said you wanted to unify the bullshit." So-Hyun said no, with a pitiful expression. This made Charon say So-Hyun was cute. Then suddenly So-Hyun stayed sharp towards Charon, as shocked by that, and saw So-Hyun's strange eyes while asking what he was doing. "Peeking," So-Hyun replied with a flat expression. This made Charon even more shocked and embarrassed with a red face. It turned out that So-Hyun activated the platinum card to peek at Charon. The purpose of peeking from this platinum card is to see someone's abilities, such as skills in a game. Meanwhile, Charon called and asked what So-Hyun was doing because she felt harassed. As if in line with Charon's question, So-Hyun said peeking to see his own abilities. So-Hyun's ability to start appeared, but because she was focused on her skills, she didn't listen to Charon. Charon, who felt abused, slapped So-Hyun's face. After that, Charon left, even though her cheek hurt. So-Hyun even thought about peeking cards. He knew about the contents of the starting ability, but did not know the meaning of the potential. After that, apart from walking in the class halls with the Yakuza, he felt nervous because the Hyun-dong group was escorting them. Doing something so embarrassing, they told people to stay away from the path the high school leader was going to walk. If not, then we'll be beaten. So Hyun was only able to surrender to see people who looked at him strangely. New rumors spread where So Hyun's group will harvest the organs of people who will approach her. Even the headmaster has been beaten into feeling happy thinking the students are happy. So Hyun said no one is happy. Instead, they think I'm trash, and why are you doing this? If you want to say something, just say it. Then he gave a white envelope full of bloodstains saying, "This is the money for this month." So Hyun didn't want to accept it seeing the blood from the envelope. So Hyun scolded them and asked whose blood this was. It turned out to be blood from a grade 1 child. So Hyun, who did not want to accept the money, was instead taken by the Yakuza. When he wanted to put it in his pocket, So Hyun was told to return it. Hyun-dong's opinion about So Hyun not wanting to accept money was because the amount was not enough and thought that So Hyun had high standards. So from that, So Hyun angry and ordered them to leave. Meanwhile, So Hyun saw that Hyun-dong's abilities were higher than her. Peeking at Hyun-dong's abilities made her feel embarrassed, and So Hyun saw that too disgusted. Not wanting to be more involved with them, So Hyun walked away. He says we will have leader inauguration. The order is the appointment of the leader. Because of that, So Hyun had no other choice. Then said, "Let's do the inauguration because I am the leader." While saying that, tears rolled down her cheeks. The inauguration ceremony has been completed. The juniors salute him. With this, the quest has been completed. 2 points, only one more order that hasn't appeared yet, and a prize that is still a mystery. Because the inauguration was over, So Hyun wanted to leave the room, but was stopped by Hyun-dong, because he had to have a meeting first. The themed meeting about high school Gangbo was bothering at this time. It was no different from the battlefield because of the power struggle after Sung-Yohan. The 4 high schools that were bullied were first Gangbudong High School. The leader was said to be crazy since becoming a leader. He was a person who lived as he pleased. According to rumors, he was even involved in human trafficking. Then Gangnam High School, presided over by model students, though he's aiming for something shows in how his business is run. Then Kongbok High School, So-Hyun's high school. So-Hyun said, "Why don't you just give in? Besides that, why do you have to determine the disturbance? And if they attack, you can report it to the police." Meanwhile, the Yakuza, who are doing nothing, casually ask for water like a boss. The underlings also fetched water for him. So-Hyun again said, "Why don't we just get along?" "But that's impossible," said Hyun-dong. "They have been looking for So-Hyun? That's because the rumors spread by Hyun-dong about So-Hyun's leader slaughtering his enemies using a singlet. So-Hyun gets angry and says she doesn't care about high school unification, nor is she going to fight. Then asked not to follow him from now on for just spreading weird rumors. Apart from that, So-Hyun just wants to come to school normally." Arriving at So-Hyun's house happily watching TV, she is relieved that she won't have to deal with gang unification. Not long after that, Da-Hyun came home. He protested to his brother because at school he was called the younger brother of leader Kim So-Hyun. Hyun's response took it lightly. He said Da-Hyun didn't need to worry because he had solved all his problems earlier through the meeting. He ordered all of this to stop if he didn't want to be beaten, and also forbade him from joining the meeting. If not, he will complain to their mother. Regardless of all that, So-Hyun now feels her life is free and will live a normal school life. Meanwhile, at a karaoke place, someone is seen counting money. One of his luggage wants permission to report news about Kong, but this mysterious man says he doesn't care. But underneath it says, "I think you should know that." The news that was conveyed was that Go Ha-jun had lost. Hearing that, the mysterious man immediately kicked that it was only the subordinate who was in pain, hoping that the man believed that it was the new leader named So-Hyun who defeated Ha-jun. Then the mysterious man said he didn't hit because he lost, but because he didn't need to know about it, and this mysterious man named Han Ji-ha, the leader of Gangbudong High School. Meanwhile, at a bowling alley, one of the underlings there tells his boss that in high school, Ha-jun had lost to a guy named Kim So-Hyun and spread rumors that he was very cruel. He asks what is the leader's plan. He also says he has to see Su-Hyun's face now because the bully meeting will be held soon, and his name is Kang Seo, the leader of High School Bully 6. In another place, Hyun-dong wrote his name, and So-Hyun with wood. He was confused about what he should do because the bully meeting will be held in a moment. Thinking about that, he was surprised by a call from So-Hyun, and as you might expect, So-Hyun said she would join the Gangbo meeting with tears in her eyes. All of that, because command number 3 of Quest rules Gang High School, which is to attend Gangbo meetings. The prizes from this quest have also been shown, 1 gold card and 10 bronze cards. Heard Hyun-dong said So-Hyun will prepare it. So-Hyun immediately went into battle. So-Hyun tries to tell him not to do anything, but Hyun-do just silent on his face radiated will do something that will make Seo-Hyun unhappy. The next day in class, So-Hyun activates a peek card at her classmate. Every time he peeked, they felt something was strange, but So-Hyun even felt happy seeing people's abilities. Confused why their reaction was weird when he activated the card. The point is that after thinking about it, people would feel embarrassed when he used his core card on someone. This peek card also has a range of HP 17-100. So-Hyun said to forget what he said just now. Meanwhile, Seo-Hyun was wondering who the real Yakuza were. Long story short, the bully meeting will be held today. Yakuza confused again by So-Hyun's words, but he only thanked the Yakuza for coming with him. The Yakuza asked what So-Hyun's plan was. So-Hyun's plan was to just attend the meeting and rush home. Since the strong schools would be present, therefore he planned not to provoke them, as they would definitely be terrifying. So So-Hyun just hoped that nothing would happen there. But according to the Yakuza, it will be difficult if nothing happens. Why? So-Hyun asked confusedly. It turns out that in front of them, there is Hyun-dong and his group doing a salute, asking them what they are doing this time, because So-Hyun was tired of being angry with them. He explained because this meeting would be attended by the leaders of each school, so this is preparation for that, in case something untoward happens. Besides that, according to Hyun-dong, they are fighters from newcomers who join voluntarily. Some even chose to come instead of waiting for their grandfather, who was in critical condition, and that person also said that grandfather would be proud. He even added they are all here ready to serve Seo-Hyun and willing to die for Seo-Hyun. Uphold your hearts. You will have dinner in hell. The juniors were amazed by the words of the Yakuza. So-Hyun instead forbids all of this. Meanwhile, the students passing by think So-Hyun and her underlings are going to have a gang fight. He told them to go home. Only him, Yakuza, and Hyun-dong would go. So-Hyun's words made Hyun-dong have a different opinion. He thought that So-Hyun alone was enough to face everyone from other schools. besides being angry with Hyun-dong's stupidity, then told them all to go home immediately, go to the meeting. At the hangout, he is seen to have hit a gangster member. He told the person to apologize to him. From what Jiha said, that person didn't pay for the drinks. When he wanted to hit again one of the gangster leaders, he stopped Jiha's hand. Jiha kicked him in the head. Then one of the underlings came to say that the meeting will start soon. He also looked angry at his men because they didn't care about that. They had now arrived in front of the building whose construction was halted. This building will be used for meetings. In addition, meetings are always held in this building. Su-Hyeon go into the building. The first thought that occurred to him was that scary people must be hanging around here, and he was about to get smacked. After going inside, the first person Su-Hyeon met was the Gangbu 6 high school group led by Kang Seo. He called Su-Hyeon politely, and his words were friendly. They also introduced themselves to each other, so Su-Hyeon thought that he was a good person, and Su-Hyun's nervousness lessened a little. Then the three of them sat down on a chair politely like. He told Su-Hyeon not to be fooled by Kang Seok's smile. Even though Kang is like that, he is still the head of Gangnam High School. In addition, he is a person who is difficult to predict, and there must be a reason why he became a leader. On the high school side, one of the underlings asked, "How did Kang Seo think about Su-Hyun?" From the words of the name earlier, Kang Seok even misunderstood. He thinks Su-Hyun provoked him with the intention of saying he sucks. He was curious as to what Kang Seo's group was talking about. Meanwhile, he waved his hand to Su-Hyun. Hyun-do says, "Don't lose the eye fight." Su-Hyun immediately told Hyun-dong to be quiet. When Su-Hyun was looking at other schools that had not arrived yet, Hyun-dong left. Su-Hyun stretched his body. Not long after that, Han Jae-ha and his group from Gang High School arrived. His temperamental nature makes him very emotional. He sees Kang Seo and calls him a bastard, his bully casually. Meanwhile, So-Hyun, he can see that he is a dangerous person. He's like the type of person who likes to snatch other people's girlfriends. With Jaeha's arrival, the quest to become the leader of Gangbox has been successfully carried out. So-Hyun got 1 gold card and 10 bronze cards because she came to the meeting. He only came to get a card. He also invited Yakuza and Hyun-do to go. But So-Hyun immediately stopped. Jaeha heard that Hajun was defeated by So-Hyun, so he asked So-Hyun to fight. Jaeha was shocked. This is because So-Hyun responded only with a sarcastic smile. But the reason So-Hyun smiled was because he was sure about when the new quest would appear like the previous quests. Quest defeats Hajun, where he only wants to be friends with Hajun. So now, if he's acting weird, then the quest to defeat Jaeha will appear. That's why So-Hyun just smiled, and after that, she didn't do anything but just put on a flat expression. On the side of high school kids who saw Jaeha and Seo-Hyun, the subordinates there were amazed by Seo-Hyun. In which he said not only did he provoke, Kang Seo-Hyun wasn't even afraid of Jae-hee. Kang Seo, who had misinterpreted from the start, also confirmed his subordinates' words. The underlings felt strange with blank stares, so asked Kang Seo. He must have known Jaeha's weakness. They gossiped again about the rumors of So-Hyun circulating. Now that was true. Where were the rumors about the high school leader holding an opposing family member hostage for his purposes? So they think So-Hyun will now take on Jaeha's challenge, and it's a tough fight. Therefore, Kansel do not want to lose the opportunity. He planned that when So-Hyun and Jaeha got tired from fighting, then he and his high school would attack them. So-Hyun's blank stare also makes him angry, because according to him, no one dares to provoke him like this. This student in his heart, he felt afraid. But because it was like this, even though there was no mission, So-Hyun wanted to fight. When he wanted to say, someone suddenly came who asked to stop the fight now. He wanted to commemorate something that Jaeha and So-Hyun fought, but Jaeha immediately grabbed the person's face saying, "You bully." Even though he was grabbed by the neck, he felt no fear. Instead, he still continued his warning. Where if Jaeha and So-Hyun fight here, then they will look for an opportunity. Then he asked to stay calm and give advice. If Jaeha wants to fight with So-Hyun, then find another day. Hearing that, Jaeha thought rationally this time. He was shocked and turned to the Kansel and waved his hand, and from there, Jaeha released Seo-Hyun and left. Afterwards, while saying, "You are lucky." With Jaeha gone, they ended this tough rights meeting, because lingering here might only lead to fights. "I already know your face. Let's greet each other," said to Seo-Hyun. Then Kang looked towards the sofa. The couch was a place for the Powder Gang High kids, who were yet again absent. Heard greeting each other. So Hyun also said, "Can we do that tomorrow?" "Are you trying to provoke me again?" he replied. But he was glad there was no fight today.
Before leaving, So-Hyun peeked at Kang Seo using his card.
But it can't be done because the system says peaking rank is not enough. The next morning he looked tired with bags under his eyes when he walked to school because the meeting bothered him so nervous that he fell asleep when he got home. Then So-Hyun thought about her peeping card. She thought evil in Kang Seo was too strong, so her current card rank couldn't be activated on them. When thinking about it, the juniors as well as their subordinates pay their respects to So-Hyun. They were moved with joy and shed tears when they heard the news about the great incident at the meeting. So-Hyun was confused about what the big incident meant, but the rumor they heard was that the leader of Gang Budong High School was defeated by Seo-Hyun with her martial arts. The fight ended. Before disturbing, the rumor had already spread throughout the school. Meanwhile, the subordinates cheered at the fake So-Hyun's prowess. So-Hyun could only surrender to the rumors. Arriving at school, So-Hyun, who looked tired earlier, turned out to have a fever, so she went to the UKS to rest. After looking around no one, So-Hyun opened all the gift cards to become the leader of the high school gang box. The cards totaled 11 gold cards and 10 bronze cards. He decided to open a gold card. Open the card, a general type of card with the name MasterCard. Its function can combine and dismantle higher cards or lower cards, or you could say combine items in a game. Knowing its function as in the game, So-Hyun opened the 10 cartoons. Among all the cards that are most useful are cards that increase strength. Increase the strength of half stronger, but the effect So-Hyun's intelligence will be reduced by 3 times, just in case this card and the rest of the cards are considered unclear to So-Hyun. Then So-Hyun using a MasterCard card, low voice recording combined with a bronze card. A silver card, a type of attack called the strike fist, functions to be able to do a strike fist or a straight fist. This card also has a range which is currently a range with an increased level of 0 per 100. After that, Seo-Hyun immediately tried strike boxing. He was fascinated by this MasterCard card, thinking 2 cards combined into a card that doesn't know if it's useful or not, but higher level. Feel. It is a gamble, even though his mother said he shouldn't gamble. But with this situation, apart from having no choice, he also combined 4 brown cards at once, which resulted in 2 silver cards. Both are types of sports cards. So-Hyun felt this card was useless. Then he gambled by combining 2 silver cards. That kind of sport. Hope he gets a useful gold card. He also prayed while activating his Master card. From the merger he got a gold card, activation type with the name Master. Received 5 punches. Seo-Hyun thought this was a slave card. Then So-Hyun slapped himself once to check what would happen to him. It made her feel sick, but nothing happened. While thinking about pass here, quest windows brought up the main quest. The quest recruited 4 members. The prize is a gold card. So-Hyun, who felt her body was healthy, left the UKS. Walking in the classroom hallway while thinking about the purpose of the quest. In class, So-Hyun asked Yakuza to be a member of her crew. Not thinking about anything with a straight face while playing games. The answer was an immediate yes. Thus, Quest Mercure had become one of 4 people. On the other hand, So-Hyun felt this mission was easy. Outside the classroom, he met Hyun-Dong, who was carrying a packet of medicine. So-Hyun asks Hyun-Dong to be a member of her crew. He is shocked and drops the medicine. He instead thought So-Hyun was looking for crew members for gang union, happily accepted while giving him what he thought was the official salute as a gang union member. Then Hyun-Do said, "From now on I will call you chairman." But So-Hyun immediately told to forget what he said earlier. Keep walking past Hyun-Dong while playing the game. So-Hyun had finished the night practice at a park where he had practiced before. While resting, he was confused about who he would recruit again. If you take random people, there might be problems. So want to recruit strong people only. After seeing the start, suddenly Charon came. So-Hyun was surprised to see Charon. He asked, "What are you doing here?" So-Hyun answered nervously, "Because I live in this neighborhood, what's wrong?" Then he left. So-Hyun said, "See you at school." But Charon, who has Sundar traits, doesn't care about it. Then So-Hyun remembered something. "Charon, wait, I have a request." It turns out that the request told Charon to slap him. Hearing that request, Charon's face turned red. She thought that So-Hyun was a very strange and perverted person. So-Hyun explained that he would feel something good coming to him after being hit. Then Charon asked, "Do you want me to hit you?" while being scolded by him. But So-Hyun did not ask to be cursed at. Charon also threw a hard slap. In the middle of the road came 5 high school guys that So-Hyun beat before. Doesn't know them. It makes them angry, saying they are here for revenge. With their appearance, side quests also appeared. The quest required him to defeat a leader with 5 subordinates. The prize is 1 silver card. Yet their conspiracies brought in men who were stronger than them. That person was the first person So-Hyun beat before. That guy named Sang-hyuk from high school bothers you. His strength, speed, and defensibility are stronger than So-hyun's. When the fight started, Charon stopped him and asked, "Which school are you guys from?" They didn't care about it. Instead, they put on scary and threatening looks to Charon. So-hyun wanted to stop them because Charon had nothing to do with this. But a sudden punch from the hyuk hit Kim So-hyun's stomach. "You said you wanted to take down Gambo, but you're just a geek," he said. Charon wanted to help him, but was stopped by their gang. "So-hyun, are you okay?" Charon said. It turns out that it wasn't pain that So-hyun was receiving, but a feeling of pleasure like a masochist. It's because of the MasterCard. Charon and the gang of bullies were surprised by So-hyun being hit, but instead said it was delicious. So they assumed So-hyun was a crazy but weird masochist who said it was good after being hit in front of women. For that, he hit So-hyun repeatedly, did not feel pain. So-hyun is back at ease until the MasterCard effect, please, activates. After getting hit 5 times, and the good thing that happened is, one of So-hyun's starts improved randomly. The increased start was the force that sent him crashing into the wall and passing out. Instantly, the people who saw it were shocked. After that, So-hyun said to Charon, "I want to confess to you, you know I feel good when I get hit." Charon blushed and said, "You crazy person," saw his sister passed out, annoyed. Meanwhile, So-hyun with his unique, peculiar style prepared to fight. But before that, the gang of bullies wanted to beat So-hyun first, who was the first to come and immediately received a punch in the face. After that, So-hyun thought of a place to fight. One punch, she had made the person down instantly, even though So-hyun had resisted the attack. Then So-hyun told Charon to close her eyes, but Charon didn't close her eyes until So-hyun made 3 more people faint. Meanwhile, Sang-hyuk applauded So-hyun. Did not wait long. The direct swing hyuk punch first. But because the effect of the MasterCard had run out, which made So-hyun's strength return, So-hyuk felt like he was just being bitten by an ant. With a knee kick, he managed to hit So-hyun's stomach, feeling strange. Why is the entry card here not active anymore that makes So-hyun feel sick? So-hyun received several punches after that until she was knocked over a bit, but the hyuk was shocked and surprised to see So-hyun, who got up as if nothing had happened. So-hyun asked to stop for a moment. Meanwhile, he was thinking about why his card is no longer active. He didn't want to waste time, while So-hyun didn't want to lose to him because Charon would be in danger. Sang-hyuk asked Charon to wait and would beat So-hyun first. Sang-hyuk hit So-hyun again, but now the masochist card is active again. Used a strike after that? So-hyun thanked Charon, because he already knew the reason why the masochist card had 5 hits. It's because of the embarrassment of being hit in front of women while eating restorer beans. It turns out that the pass won't activate just by getting hit. The condition for its activation was to be beaten along with being humiliated. Then Sang-hyuk tried to fight by doing wrestling moves, because he knew the difference in weight between them. But he couldn't lift So-hyun. It turned out that So-hyun used additional strength, gaining 100 kilograms in 5 seconds. So-hyun elbowed him in the back, followed by punching his head. Charon was shocked to see him. Meanwhile, So-hyun's stats have increased a lot. Then he hit the hyuk repeatedly. With this, the side quest defeating the bully leader has been successful, getting 1 silver card, but still not showing what card it is. The next day at school, So-hyun thought doing the previous quest was really fun. All the quests that came up were related to his actions. He was suddenly slapped by Charon. While berating So-hyun, the masochistic So-hyun asked to be slapped on the right cheek as well. But Charon just cursed at him. With blushing cheeks, then So-hyun asked what was wrong. It turned out that there had been rumors that he and So-hyun were dating. His students seeing it thought it was a lover's quarrel. Apart from denying the rumors, then saying all we did was an indirect kiss, that letting slip made people even more misunderstood. Their underclassmen came with flowers and asked if it was true that Charon had fallen in love with So-hyun for saving her. He quickly denied it. Meanwhile, at a road to high school, Sang-hyun apologizes to Jae-ha for not being able to win against So-hyun. He said the rumors about So-hyun were true, where she would pretend to be weak in the beginning and brush her opponent brutally in the end. But he considered So-hyun just like trash that he didn't deserve to hit. Then Hyuk said that So-hyun spread rumors about Jae-ha, who lost to him. Jae-ha also intends to catch So-hyun. Jae-ha, who wanted to find So-hyun, was stopped by his subordinates. He was named Hwang, person number 14 in high school. That person said to Jae-ha, in essence, why should Jae-ha bother catching ants? So let him do it. Before allowing him, warned him that by holding his stomach, Jae-ha would allow him to move. So-hyun looked at the silver card he got before, a regular type card with the name Skyrocket. He is confused whether this card will be used or not because he does not know what it does. Apart from that, the main quest recruited 2 new members from 4. While outside the class, Su-Hyeon thought, who else should be recruited? In addition, he plans to increase his peak rank. While the strap of his school sandals breaks in front of him, a Charon calls him. Because Su-Hyun's sandal strap broke, so he lost his balance and ended up hitting his head on Charon's chest. Su-Hyun wanted to explain, but Charon immediately slapped him. Su-Hyun, who was slapped, even felt happy. Su-Hyun explained that it wasn't her fault and took it out on fate, but Charon didn't care and threatened to report to the police. Suddenly, Ha-Jun was standing behind. Su-Hyun was shocked. He ran a little away and asked a lot of things like a familiar person, but he just ignored it. Meanwhile, the Windows quest pops up a notification. A new side quest appears. The contents of the quest are recruiting Go Ha-Jun as a member. The prize is 1 silver card. Then Su-Hyun calls Ha-Jun from behind and invites him to become a member of his crew. Ha-Jun again asked, ignoring him. After school at boss waiting, Su-Hyun told him that he had invited Ha-Jun to invite him to become a member, but he was ignored by the Yakuza. The Yakuza were also confused by Ha-Jun, who just left. Then one of the class came. He reported that there was a big problem where Hyun-dong was caught by high school kids. So-Hyun's response was simple: you should report it to the police. You tend to ignore government authority. Other than that, So-Hyun told him to take care of himself because he was not going to fight there. After that, the first grader kept calling So-Hyun, but he didn't respond. Behind him is Ha-Jun watching them on the bus. The Yakuza asked if it was all right. Other than not going, said he didn't want to go because he was being bullied. Besides that, he also hopes that Hyun-do stays away from him. Meanwhile, Hyun-dong is being taught all over by Gangbudong's high school subordinates. They labeled Hyun-dong, who was like a parasite, always clinging to Go Ha-Jun. Then to Kim So-Hyun. They also think that if Kim So-Hyun loses, then Hyun-do will stick to someone else. But Hyun-do confidently says he has found the king he serves. That king is Kim So-Hyun, and there is no king but him. Besides that, he also felt that So-Hyun would not come to help him. So he asked them to just finish him off. Dae-sung used an iron staff, but the iron staff was not used by Dae-sung. He gives it to Hyun-do to hit him with the stick, until he grabs it immediately wants the stick to his bloated stomach. Dae-sung didn't feel anything from the punch. Then one kicked Hyun-dong, which made Hyun-dong sprawl. He swings the bat at Hyun-do to end it. But unexpectedly, apart from having his fist strike hitting that person's face, the underlings were stunned. Dae-sung has a normal expression while Hyun-dong is moved. Then So-Hyun said, "I'll clean up everything." So-Hyun peeked at the stats of the subordinates, whose stats were similar to So-Hyun's. But for Dae-sung, who is the strongest number 14 in Gangbudong High School, his stats are much higher than So-Hyun. Apart from that, the durability reaches A+. In front of him, So-Hyun looks little respect for people who are older than him, so he asked permission to So-Hyun to finish him. So-Hyun was silent. Denso took off his shirt. His underlings asked, "Let them fight first," but Dae-sung didn't allow it because he felt he could finish it alone. So-Hyun, who heard that Dae-sung wanted to fight him alone, was stunned when he gave the order to fight. He immediately used Job's punches, followed by a straight for Dae-sung's stomach. So-Hyun was surprised that Dae-sung didn't feel his fist. Then So-Hyun again launched a combo punch at Dae-sung. Again, Dae-sung didn't feel the punch because the fat on his stomach got in the way, wanting to aim at his head when he looked at Dae-sung's head. Dae-sung immediately punched his stomach and said weight was the problem, for that he had one way, namely using a 100 kilograms weight gain card in 5 seconds. He approached Dae-sung and approached when he activated the card. A Windows Quest notification appears saying it failed to use the card. That's because using a weight gain card can only be used once a day. Previously, the card was used against Sang-hyo, and the remaining time for reuse is only 1 hour left. Dae-sung immediately strangled So-Hyun and lifted him up with only one hand, then threw him to the ground. Seeing that, Dae-sung's innate thought So-Hyun was only a weak person. Meanwhile, Dae-sung didn't seem to believe that the #1 person in Gang High School was even this weak. Therefore, Dae-sung ordered his subordinates to finish off So-Hyun, because he felt fighting So-Hyun would only be a waste of energy. Not accept So-Hyun will be killed, he immediately protected him. Swinging a baseball bat at Hyun-dong, this time Ha-Jun came and kicked him. So-Hyun was shocked by Ha-Jun's arrival. Then Ha-Jun wanted to ask one thing to So-Hyun. "What do you mean this makes me a crew member? Do you think I'm weak?" "It's not like that. I feel I can depend on you if you are near me." Hearing that Ha-Jul said So-Hyun is a strange person, and said she will join her crew and get ready to fight. That way the side quest of recruiting Ha-Jun has been successful. Get rewarded with 1 silver card. The card was immediately opened, and he was surprised to see it. Daesung greeted Hajun, who came and said, "Shall we start the fight right away?" But Hajun said that the one who fought with Daesung was not himself, but Kim So-Hyun, the runner who had not warmed up earlier. Su-Hyun got up by eating peanuts. Apart from that, the side quest appears again, this time doing a combo of a different card. The prize is a gold card. He immediately hit So-Hyun's face, received a card notification. This time Daesung performed a combo attack until the activation of the masochist card was active. Again, what increased was So-Hyun's strength, so So-Hyun took a strike to Daesung's stomach. Daesung would not believe So-Hyun's punch made his distended stomach hurt. Then So-Hyun activated the skyrocket card, which jumped up, making the people there dumbfounded. Because So-Hyun's actions were profitable for him, he was sure he would easily catch So-Hyun with his hands. So-Hyun combined the skyrocket card with the silver card he got just now. That card was a type of attack card called Taekwondo that hit Daesung's face. Blood came out of Daesung's face. His subordinates were shocked in disbelief. Likewise with Hajun and Hyundong. With this, the side mission to beat Daesung was completed. Got a gold card, and So-Hyun immediately opened the card. But 2 cards came out. Seo-Hyun had to choose one of the 2 cards, while Han Daesung tried to make her aware. But he doesn't answer and tells them to take him and go from here. Seo-Hyun had arrived at his house. His body was full of fatigue. For that, he wanted to go straight to his room to rest. But before that, he saw Da-Hyun dancing in front of the camera in the living room. But it was strange. Even Da-Hyun was angry about that. Because previously So-Hyun said she would come home late, that's why she danced. With the reason that everyone in her class did that too. Didn't want to add to the exhaustion of arguing. So So-Hyun went straight to his room. So-Hyun lay down while looking at what card he would choose from the 2 gold cards earlier. One card can see, the next card can be, and the other is the greeting card. While thinking about that, So-Hyun, who was tired, fell asleep. Meanwhile, at Gangbodong High School, a person who seems to have a higher rank than Daesung tells Daesung to just go home today and stay out of Jaeha's sight for a while if he doesn't want to die, because Jaeha won't let his subordinates fail. Daesung, with a scared expression, obeyed. When he wanted permission to go home, Jaeha came and was annoyed. Daesung still dared to come to the school, immediately prostrated himself, apologizing and giving reasons. Thus, he asked for one more chance, but since Jaeha was a temperamental person, he wanted the punch. Seo-Hyun thanked Sis Hajun for saving her. Hajun was surprised. The problem was, So-Hyun apologized while Hajun was peeing in the toilet. So-Hyun's excuse was that he just wanted to see Hajun, and I don't know what came to So-Hyun's mind. He asked if you want me to clean it up. Hajun replied casually he could clean it himself, but Seo-Hyun, who seemed to be infected with the stupidity of the Handong, instead said, "Wow, I think you can do everything alone." Hajun was confused by that. Came out in the toilet, So-Hyun still followed Hajun. He was grateful that Hajun had looked after his crew members. But Hajun said not to get me wrong, because he just wanted to see So-Hyun fight. He warned So-Hyun to be careful with Han Jae-ha, because he's not an ordinary delinquent. Swinging his hand earlier, apparently just holding his head. He asked everything about So-Hyun that Daesung knew. Jaeha's friends also feel strange with Jaeha, but it turned out that after he finished telling Jaeha, he immediately kicked Daesung, and only with that one kick. Hajun confirmed what kind of person So-Hyun was, from suddenly being fine after dying and suddenly using a kick. In a high school class, Hyundo and his subordinates have another meeting. Yakuza, who doesn't do anything, feels like a boss with his sitting style, which makes So-Hyun annoyed to see him. Hyundo said the rumors of So-Hyun's title has now changed to So-Hyun the Cannibal after defeating Daesung. Then Hyundo regretted that Daesung, who was ranked 14th strongest in Gangbudong, did not have a territory, because if there was, it would become a territory. He explained about the So-Hyun area, seemed not to care about Yundong's chatter. He only looked at the 2 cards he hadn't chosen yet. So-Hyun raised both cards, but the response about it. So-Hyun was doing a performance, so she asked the others to get ready for applause. They also thought So-Hyun was cool and deserved to be called So-Hyun the Cannibal, even though he was just confused about choosing a card. After thinking a lot about the advantages and disadvantages of the 2 cards, So-Hyun chose the Meet and Greet card, which is the challenger card with the highest level. Want to meet So-Hyun, and this card can only be used once it's used up it disappears. He immediately activated this Meet and Greet card. Instantly everyone in the room disappeared. There was only So-Hyun. So-Hyun was surprised and called everyone. Even when he was outside the room, no one appeared. So-Hyun started to panic about what was happening, while calling out to everyone until she ran out of high school. There he saw a large card that popped up a notification. Meeting you? This is our first meeting. You must have a lot of questions, so feel free to ask, I will answer them. So-Hyun felt that this big card was a challenger card, immediately asked many questions at once. Who gave me this quest? Why did I get the quest? Why should I? What do you want from me? What is the final mission? The challenger card responds immediately. I will complete your curiosity. I will call that person. Apart from being curious about who this person meant, then a voice said, You must be Kim So-Yeon. I can't believe you introduced the meet and greet card. You must be a very lucky person to know that. So-Yeon asked if that means someone else gave me this mission. Here So-Yeon has a hunch that this person is not the one who gave her the mission, but this mysterious voice asked So-Yeon not to worry about it. The mysterious voice then said that he and So-Yeon had met before, but he doesn't know whether So-Hyun is suitable for this task. Hearing the task, So-Hyun wanted to know and asked what the task was, and if was it the last mission. But because the mysterious voice said that they didn't trust each other completely, therefore he asked So-Hyun to show her skills first by uniting the two high schools. If he succeeds, then he can trust So-Hyun's abilities. Meish felt curious and dissatisfied. So-Hyun asked, Why did he have to do that? The mysterious voice answered, Are you giving up? Don't you think this mission is a golden opportunity for you? Your eyesight has improved, your height has increased, your life has changed, and you have come out of your miserable life. First, it was thanks to the gold card. The challenger card suddenly got further away from So-Hyun's sight, but continued what he said. On top of gold and platinum, there are demon, master, and challenger. Aren't you curious about his abilities? And suddenly So-Hyun realized, opening her eyes. Turns out he was still in the meeting room at school. The juniors who had been calling for So-Hyun felt very relieved after So-Hyun opened his eyes, because before they thought So-Hyun had died. While So-Hyun was talking to the mysterious person from the challenger card, earlier it turned out that Yakuza was chairing the meeting. All they talked about was the uniforms worn by Gangbukseo troops. Seeing So-Hyun, who looked tired, Hyun decided to stop the meeting first, and walk to the exit of the room. So Hyun thought about the conversation he had with the person behind the challenger card earlier. On second thought, the chance wouldn't come again. So he turned around and said to Hyundong, Hyundong, I will unite Gangbuk, and the underlings are happy, and say he will announce this to the whole high school. On the way home from school, there were two couples talking. So-Hyun used the card to peek at the woman. It turned out that the woman felt abused and accused the man of doing it. Therefore, he slapped his girlfriend. So-Hyun then peeked at some other students until his peek card rank became E. After that, So-Hyun looked back. He saw Charon and peeked at Charon. Even Charon felt abused. Meanwhile, So-Hyun's current form has changed. Additionally, height and weight have been added. On the way home in an alley, So-Hyun saw all the cards. With the current card, he feels he can't put Gangbuk together, and he needs to get another attack card. Then So-Hyun thought about the two leaders, namely Kang Seo and Han Ji-ha. He doesn't know about Kang Seo. For Ji-ha, Seo-Hyun is afraid of him, until it becomes strong. So Hyun plans to avoid Han Ji-ha first. Unexpectedly, while talking about it, he appears right in front of her and says, Is that so? Then immediately kicked So-Hyun. With just one kick, he was hard to breathe. For that, So-Hyun immediately ate the restorer nuts. Ji-ha did a downward kick this time, and So-Hyun was able to escape. Ji-ha wonders why So-Hyun doesn't use her legs as rumored, and why besides being able to beat Daesung. For that, Ji-ha asked, How can So-Hyun beat Daesung? Peeping as if So-Hyun answered Ji-ha's question, even though he activated the evil peeping card. As if the question is answered, So-Hyun wins by just peeking. Start Ji-ha, who looks so much beyond him. Seeing that time, So-Hyun immediately knew that he was not comparable to Ji-ha. On top of that, he had already eaten the restoration bean, so he didn't know what else to do. Then a new side quest appears, and their quest wins the fight against Ji-ha. The prize is one platinum card, and there is a hidden condition. Seeing the prize, which is a platinum card, So-Hyun approached Ji-ha and said, Han Ji-ha, face me, and let's fight properly. There's no one here. It's useless. Only you see me, or are you afraid to fight later? So-Hyun knew he was currently weak. So from that, he thought of a way to get away from Ji-ha. He provoked her. It's useless to beat him here because no one is looking. Hearing that, Ji-ha asked, When will he meet So-Hyun? Don't worry about that. I, Kim, So-Hyun will call you again. He then released So-Hyun and she walked away, turning her back on him. Seeing that he had a chance, he used Skyrocket and combined it with kicks. Even though the kick, Jae-ha secretly managed to avoid it, then immediately countered, hitting So-Hyun's face while saying he never lowered his guard, even though he wanted to die. With that kick, besides being unconscious. Jae-ha said So-Hyun's steps were messy, but had pretty good skills. With that, the quest to beat Jae-ha failed, but completed the hidden conditions. That condition was the first defeat against an undefeated foe. For completing the hidden condition, he got 1 diamond card. When he woke up, he was already in the classroom for a meeting. The window says he found Seo-Hyun in an alley and he heard that So-Hyun had fought with Jae-ha. Strange rumors were heard that Jae-ha attacked So-Hyun secretly. Meanwhile, So-Hyun felt this was a total defeat for her. Not only that, he can't even do anything, and it was the first time he feels the difference in strength. Then Ha-jun comes and says, So-Hyun is lucky. Seo-Hyun immediately peeked at Ha-jun's start, which turned out to be the same monster as Jae-ha. From there, why did he win against Ha-jun? On second thought, he assumed Ha-jun was losing ground on him. Therefore, So-Hyun wanted to make sure, and asked Ha-jun, why did you help me? I felt you pretended to lose to me and you became my member. Is there any reason for that? Then wrote that it was the first time he saw someone like So-Hyun. So he was curious and told So-Hyun to, don't get me wrong. He never said he would cooperate. After that, Ha-jun left and So-Hyun told Hyun-dong to go too and thanked him. Then So-Hyun took out a diamond card, a hidden gift condition. So-Hyun immediately opened the card. Card description: you must summon in a safe place in high school. Jae-ha was greeted by his subordinates. One of them asked, how about the fight against Kim So-Hyun? Hey, am I going to come here if I lose? He's no big deal. He's weaker than what I thought. So-Hyun now orders his subordinate named Kang Do-hyuk at high school to disturb Dong and bring all of his subordinates to sort things out. But because there was Go Ha-jun, so Jae-ha ordered to bring person number 5 in high school. Jae-ha is sure that if he was under Mr. Gun, he could catch Ha-jun too. Jae-han left a message for Park Gun to stop his behavior. As for Jae-ha himself, he will focus on high school from now on, because he wants to see the end of the jerk and after finishing Gangboxer and Gangnam. Next destination is Gangbuk High School. In the elevator heading home, Da-hyun begged her sister not to leave the room because her friend was going to play at home. Why are you shy? So-Hyun asked. But this time, Da-hyun was not embarrassed. She said she was only afraid of making her sister uncomfortable. So-Hyun also said that he would come out and say love to Da-hyun's friend. But Da-hyun knew Seo-Hyun was joking and said that she would do whatever her sister asked for later. He also said he would go out in his underwear only. Da-hyun screamed angrily because the room was the safest place, so So-Hyun used her copying cloud card. Meanwhile, Da-hyun's friends had arrived. Da-hyun was a little angry at them for coming late so she didn't eat. Instead, they made tteokbokki, knowing So-Hyun was at home. They got hysterical, and it was revealed that Da-hyun was nicknamed the Ice Queen at school. Meanwhile, one of Da-hyun's friends looked at Seo-Hyun's room. He was surprised to see the blue coffee cloud and asked, "Who are you?" Turns out clouds can talk. Another ability of this copying cloud card is if copy mode is activated, Seo-Hyun's surrounding objects will be copied. Then a notification appears with contents to tell So-Hyun to be careful, because the cloud will automatically copy when it is activated. So-Hyun immediately tried it by activating copy mode. Notify reappears with content, looking for a human target to copy. Suddenly, Da-hyun opened So-Hyun's room and said her friends asked for autographs, apart from telling Da-hyun not to go into her room. But it was too late. The cloud of copyists had already locked on the target. The cloud turned red, wrapped around the body swaying like a snake. A notification from the copying cloud appeared where he copied Kim Da-hyun. After copying, he can move at will and follow all the words, So-Hyun. On Da-hyun's side, she was confused by what was wrapped around her. After successfully copying Da-hyun, the cloud released him. So-Hyun immediately asked about Da-hyun's condition. Da-hyun seemed to be out of breath, saying she was fine, but she felt as if she was being tied up by something. He got scared too. Because of that, then, after thinking, he thought maybe there was a ghost in this house. Back to So-Hyun's room. He is still confused with this copying card. Then a copy card notification appears again, where So-Hyun can paste Kim Da-hyun. He tried it. Suddenly, the cloud slowly turned into a Da-hyun. Seo-Hyun, who couldn't believe it, checked Da-hyun into the living room, but she was still there. Then he tried to touch it by poking Da-hyun's artificial nose. Unexpectedly, the copying cloud felt abused. So from that, he slapped So-Hyun's cheek. He immediately activated with a mischievous expression, the copyist cloud returning to card form of his own accord. The next day, in class, So-Hyun felt, why the card can only copy it. It was even a diamond card, and thought if there were two younger siblings, then he would be doubly dizzy. Suddenly, right in front of his face appeared a scary face. Hyun-dong. So-Hyun was shocked to see that. He reported that there was a problem where Gangbudong High School had moved. Han Jae-ha sent people to conquer Ganbuk, led by the number 5 strongest person in Gangbudong. He is a man famous for his crimes. His deputy is Kang Do-hyuk, the 13th strongest in high school, a stronger person than Hwang Dae-sung, whom So-Hyun defeated before. While it currently lacks strong people, he feels we have no chance of winning. Hearing that So-Hyun was dumbfounded, thinking about what should he do. Besides that, even against Dae-sung, he feels that he has won hockey, and if Jae-ha comes, then this is the end of his life. So he wondered, is there a way to get other attack cards? Then somewhere So-Hyun has a headache thinking about all these problems. And what ways can make him strong in such a short time? Suddenly his hair asked, what are you doing? He wanted to ask for help to train him. When you want to say you have a request to Hajun. Hajun immediately refused, without knowing what So-Hyun's request was. Then So-Hyun spoke with a slightly threatening tone, if you don't want to mean I have no choice. Somewhere in the slum, Do-hyuk went to a place where there were a lot of users. He was a little afraid to talk to Park Jae-on. Park Jae-on already knew Do-hyuk would come, and then he asked how Gangnam was because he wanted to find Kang Se-ok. Besides that, I also heard that they would conquer other alleys. Park Jae-on wants to deal with him for making him work twice, asking when to leave to finish off the bully. As if Do-hyuk didn't know who, they immediately said leave now. Meanwhile, on the high school rooftop, So-Hyun hit Hajun with her jab. That person is not the real Hajun, but a copying cloud. But his stats are the same as the original Hajun. So-Hyun copied Hajun because Hajun didn't want to help her practice. So-Hyun gave the order so that the cloud would not attack him and asked to dodge So-Hyun's punch. Next, and with this, Hajun, besides being able to increase his XP as he wished while practicing notifications, windows appeared saying skill level had increased drastically based on the strength of the opponent's increased skills, jabs, strikes, and hog kicks. It doesn't stop there. So-Hyun continues to try to improve everything up to the strike. Meanwhile, in front of the girls' high school, the friend who at that time was Da-hyun's house before was walking with her friends. On the other hand, and his accomplice looked at them with the eyes of prey. Then one of them said he will look for Go Hajun and Park Gun and ask if Do-hyuk is okay to catch So-Hyun. He doesn't mind it either. Then he feels so young now, so he invites his friends to have fun first. While excited to see the clear Soha in front of the entrance to the high school, now standing So-Hyun, Yakuza, and Hyun-dong. Hyun saw So-Hyun's face, which looked grim, with an unusual aura. Therefore, he asked. Coolly, he said, somehow I'm going to hit a power pole this time. Hyun, Do is immediately prejudiced and has no fear. Then one of the underlings came, saying, there was a problem, the one who always brings news of trouble. The problem he brought up this time was that the Gangbudong High School students had arrived. The 3 of them were immediately shocked, the troublemaker then told. Them they threatened several students, but So-Hyun didn't care. He simply suggested calling the police. Even so, So-Hyun was a little curious. Who did they threaten the best school in the province where there are only beautiful women? The 3 of them immediately walked to the place. They were stopped by Dae-sung, who was now down in rank to number 43 being bullied. He said because of So-Hyun, he became the butt of jokes. That's why he's here, and will clear his good name. Then So-Hyun, who already looked cool, asked Hyun-dong and the Yakuza to go to the girls' high school first. The Yakuza and Hyun hurriedly left. Dae-sung felt crazy for daring to fight him alone. He felt defeated because Hajul suddenly interfered, so he let his guard down. With great confidence, other than saying, I alone am enough to finish you off. In an alley, Soha and his friends were trapped by Do-hyuk's group. Do-hyuk asked to play together, only 3 hours, while others intimidate them. Soha and his friends just silent fear. Do-hyuk also wanted to hold Shoa's head, but someone came and told them to stop. The one who came was Hyun-dong from high school, but he was a little surprised why he came here. Seeing that there were so many of them, Hyun-dong broke into a cold sweat. Then the Ronko approached him and said Hyun-dong was impolite because they were older, to have no other choice but to hold them while waiting for So-Hyun to come. Suddenly they were surprised to see something. It turns out that So-Hyun came out with a bang. A strange rumor about the Yakuza came out where she was the number 2 person in Gangbokso, the only person who fought Kim So-Hyun 4 days 4 nights, a newcomer called the Leech King. The Yakuza themselves haven't even heard of the word The women assume he is good at fighting and will save them when they see the Yakuza come out. Hyundong. So don't worry anymore and feel the Yakuza will take care of them all. On the Yakuza side, cold sweat instead came out of his face. Even though the Yakuza are actually afraid, the subordinates are also afraid of hearing the strange rumors just now, plus his gangster face. Then the Yakuza walked up to them and stopped in her tracks, looking at them, unworthy to be his opponent for keeping his hands in his pockets. The Yakuza, who had been standing still, made the underlings start running towards him. Yakuza will surrender. He closes his eyes with profuse sweat running down his face. In the middle, while showing his bloody fist, then Daesung, who was lying down, was shown. Daesung felt that he was a completely different person from the ones he had fought before. Su-Hyeon he walked over, swapped places with the Yakuza and Yakuza who were sweating earlier, instead arrogantly spoke, "You taught me pleasure, Kim Su-Hyeon. I'll let you this time." Seeing Su-Hyeon here, Do-hyuk realized Daesung lost. But he said that he was stronger than Daesung. So-Hyun also peeked at his start, which was indeed stronger than Daesung's start. Do-hyun gave the order to attack. The underlings immediately attacked. So-Hyun threw a punch. Previously, after he finished training with the Hajun clone, So-Hyun saw his attack card, which had increased drastically. Jabs and strikes altogether. His fighting skill range has been increased. Red range can increase the chance of a hit. Red critical rank can also increase the chance of a critical hit. She uses critical, and currently So-Hyun is doing a combo punch to the underlings, to the point of issuing critical damage. Hyundong, Yakuza, and Soha were stunned to see that, besides that, a new side quest appeared. Quiz beats Kang Do-hyuk. The prize is 1 silver card. After tidying up some of the underlings, So-Hyun said that she didn't care about the underlings. So he ordered Do-hyuk, with his cool face. He didn't accept So-Hyun's words. So-Hyun jetted into his face first. Didn't get there, but attacked the remaining underlings, but one sneakily attacked from behind. But So-Hyun knew it, and hit him until all his subordinates fainted on the spot. Seeing all the subordinates who lost, the girls were amazed by So-Hyun. Do-hyuk's response, "You are great too. It's like the rumors." Didn't wait long, someone immediately attacked So-Hyun, saying, "This level is only the same as Daesung." Do-hyuk, who is PD, said that because previously there were rumors telling him that So-Hyun was weaker than he thought. And at that time Daesung was sure he would win. If fighting again, Daesung also gave advice not to let your guard down. If so, it's guaranteed to win. From those words he believes So-Hyun is nothing to him. But in fact now, So-Hyun did a kick that hit Do-hyuk's face. Receiving pain from the kick, he cursed Daesung's previous words. It didn't stop there. So-Hyun attacked Do-hyuk again. This time using a rocket style and combo with additional weight. So-Hyun did a month that resulted in critical damage hitting right in the middle of Do-hyuk's face. And with that attack, the side quest defeating Do-hyuk was successfully completed, getting a silver card as a prize. Meanwhile, So-Hyun said, "What should I do? I actually don't like this, throwing my fists in front of women." "Are you hurt?" asked So-Hyun to the girls. So-Ha was stunned to see it, while his other friends looked a little scared. So-Hyun turned to look at them. They also thanked them with faces that were still scared, different from their friends. So-Ha looked normal. His friend also told rumors that Kim So-Hyun ate the corpse of the person he defeated. That's why they were scared. So-Hyun heard those words, so he asked Hyundo to say the right things. He could hear everything. But unexpectedly, So-Ha called So-Hyun and asked for his cell phone number, with a shy face. After looking around, So-Hyun knew he was Da-Hyun's friend. Meanwhile, So-Ha's friend couldn't stop thinking about So-Ha. He said, "You're crazy, huh? He's Kim So-Hyun. He kidnaps women and gets involved with them. He's a very cruel person. You know those rumors, right?" "I know why. I just want to thank him," answered shyly. So-Hyun was even happy with a strange face, hearing So-Ha's words when he was about to give his cell phone number. There was a sound of laughter. It was from Do-hyo. He said, "Smile as much as you want, and for as long as you can. You all must die." With lots of force with his feet, he continued. "You must have heard about the number 5 in high school, Park Ji-on. He will be here and now he must be killing you all." Meanwhile, elsewhere, Park Ji-on came to him. Ha-jun ignores him, telling him to go home as he is practicing. He says complain Jae-ha sent him here to catch Ha-jun. After that, Kim So-Hyun then belittled Ha-jun. Hearing all the thrashing, a fist suddenly landed on Park Gun's face, which made Park Gun faint with just that one punch. It is shown that even though he has a fairly high start, in front of Ha-jun, he is nothing. Ha-jun squatted beside him and said, "Really, Jae-ha said to catch me? That's great, because I needed an excuse to hang out with Kim So-Hyun, and then just told Jae-ha to tell Jae-ha that she's joining So-Hyun's crew." At So-ha's house, He was seen reading a book. Because bedtime had entered, his mother ordered him to finish reading and sleep immediately. After that, Shoha is shown as the author of the book. So-Hyun is currently in her room. He who had defeated Daesung and within a day felt like he could beat Jaeha. But thinking about Jaeha's many groups made him think, what should he do in the future? But So-Hyun still doesn't know how she will train her crew members, and will they grow equally when she fights? Then So-Hyun saw how to build from this card. Said to be a match that can build a crew with a builder card. This coach card can be obtained through the coach quest, because it has been in contact with a crew member, so a notification appears saying the coach quest will be activated from now on, not sideways. He wanted to open a card he hadn't opened yet, the silver card he got after defeating Do-hyuk. That card is currently held by Imitator Cloud. He immediately opened the card. Fortunately, the card was a type of attack card that was still related to boxing called wiving. Wiving is a defensive technique in boxing by shifting the head to the right and left to avoid blows coming from the front. Her current range is still F, so Hyun jumps into it and she has as much fun as a banana. Meanwhile, a new side quest appears. The quest completes the boxing combo wave technique and hook technique. The prize is 1 gold card. For the wave to be obtained, he must obtain a clear attack card called the hook fist. So So-Hyun wants to gamble again using MasterCard. All unused bronze cards combined, including cards that increase 50% strength, but 3 times less intelligence. From the combination, it produces 2 silver cards. Apart from looking disappointed because the card that came out didn't match his expectations, because those who always use card combinations, curiosity also appeared. So Hyun is also curious about disassembling MasterCard cards. So he was wondering if he should try to dismantle the cards too, since there are so many silver cards. The next day at high school, in the meeting room, the subordinates saluted and congratulated So-Hyun the runner and the Yakuza Diablos for showing true strength to other high schools. The self-righteous Yakuza said, "Make sure I don't have to interfere next time. What are you celebrating?" Yuno explains that because it was So-Hyun who beat Do-hyuk as number 13 in high school. He has 3 fiefdoms, Seojin High School, Dojin High School, and Jogung High School. And that territory now belongs to the Gongs because of his defeat. Then he asked, "What about Jaeha? Wouldn't he attack because his territory was taken away?" King Dong said, "For the time being, So-Hyun. Take it easy because he has already contacted SMA. Meanwhile at the high school hangout, and Daeon has lost. Because at that time Do-hyuk's territory already belonged to Gang Bokso. Then the underling asked, what are we going to do? What's more, we have to go there right now." While everyone was getting ready to leave, one of the underlings brought up a huge problem where SMA had moved. He explained the reason was because he knew people were defeated by Kim So-Hyun, and if left south and west would be taken, but only to check, not fight. Besides, Jaeha said So-Hyun was weak and he could beat her any time. But before that, he wanted to clean up the jerk first. After explaining everything he had done, So-Hyun is still safe until he asked to be praised by So-Hyun. But So-Hyun didn't care because he still had plenty of time to suggest strengthening the organization from within. But they don't get the point. Meanwhile, the subordinates who were too stupid processed in a way that always made So-Hyun embarrassed. The women who saw So-Hyun said there was a new rumor, where So-Hyun who had finished defecating he didn't flush it. Then he said the 3 high schools controlled by Do-hyuk had become Sunbae's property. But the problem is, we don't know if they are currently following Sunbae's orders or even want to fight back. Therefore, Hyun-do suggested to discipline them. From those words, a guest Windows notification appears making the trustee quest. The quest disciplines Seojin High School, Dog High School, and Dojang High School and makes them submit. The reward is 1 mid-tier builder card, for strength 1 mid-tier builder card, for speed 1 mid-tier for builder card, for endurance, and 1 mid-tier builder card for randomness. After being given the quest, he became happy and accepted Hyun-do's suggestion. He so wanted to do it now. For the first time, Seo-hyun first wanted to go to Seojin High School. As he walked there, he saw Soha in front of him. So-hyun also asked what he was doing here. Do-hyuk even mocked them like children. He said that today he had plans with Da-hyun, but with a shy face hearing that, So-hyun passed by and ordered not to come home late, then called So-hyun back and said while covering her face, "Why didn't So-hyun reply to her message? All I need to do is reply to the message, right? Then I will go first." Soha looks relieved after saying that. Meanwhile, Charon turns out to have seen earlier, making him annoyed with So-hyun. Then on a hill where the Seojin high school kids are, they are discussing what steps should be taken. With Do-hyuk losing, one of them said he heard So-hyun is a scary person. A high school student, Seojin, told them to be quiet because until the end, some will just follow and say if Kim, So-Hyun or anyone else comes here, then he will kill him. When he was also shown as a high school leader. Not long after that, So-Hyun and Hyun-dong arrived to their place with a sigh, because the place where they were hanging out was on top of a mountain. Seeing that Jin-so suddenly punched So-Hyun, he managed to avoid it using a waving technique. So-Hyun already looked serious. The Jin-so was a little amazed by So-Hyun, who avoided the sudden punch. He attacked suddenly, saying, "Bastard, you're suddenly more cowardly than my sunbae." Then So-Hyun did a fist that hit Jin-so's stomach. So-Hyun used to combine and disassemble and throw away all the unused cards. He also ditched the high-pitch sound card. After doing these various experiments, So-Hyun finally got a hook boxing attack card, and with that the perfect boxing combo quest was successfully completed, getting a gold card prize. Again, the card is a type of attack card that is still related to boxing. He makes agile twisting movements of the upper body to the right and left, as well as up and down. So-Hyun launched an attack on Jin-sol's face while doing dance moves. He couldn't move at all. Hyun-dong and the underlings saw it. Then the last attack made Jin-sol faint on the spot. With the defeat of Jin-so, the underlings knelt down and said they would follow So-Hyun. And with that, Seojin High School had been conquered and became Seo-hyun's subordinates. Only Dojin High School and Jogang High School. So-Hyun immediately invites Hyun to the next high school. King-dong feels like he's already a gangster. Dojin High School obediently obeys under the leadership of So-Hyun, because they have long been getting bad behavior from disturbing Dong High School. SMA Jogang is also happy to be under SMA, but they are afraid to feel the security money is being raised. Seo-hyun, who didn't care about the illicit money, said she wouldn't take their money no matter how big. They were happy, and praised the wise boss, So-Hyun. With the submission of the 3 schools, the supervisor's quest to place the 3 schools under So-Hyun's rule was successfully completed. So-Hyun got her 4th coach card. Intermediate builder cards for attack power, speed, and durability. Those who use cards for strength, speed, and endurance will increase the start of crew members by 1 level, and those who attack will get 1 attack. Now he can raise the status of his crew members. Then in the toilet, So-Hyun was confused about who she would use the Pembina card for. He looked at the Yakuza who seemed to have difficulty urinating right now among all the crew members. According to So-Hyun, the Yakuza was the weakest. Feel bad if he joins the fight and gets hurt, but because he was sure that one day the Yakuza would fight too, so So-Hyun chose to give all his training cards to the Yakuza to protect himself. He also uses all his cards to the Yakuza. The Yakuza immediately felt an extraordinary sensation in him, and it seemed that it was also hit by the urine that was able to come out. So-Hyun was curious about one thing, namely about the number 1 person in high school, as info for preparation. But Hyun-dong doesn't have any information about him. Only rumors say he is very strong. Besides that, he can't stop thinking, why do people who have the most strength only have rumors that he is very strong? Then So-Hyun and Yakuza went outside the toilet to think that they should have someone who can see Seo's disturbing power and take care of it from the inside. But that trusted person doesn't exist yet, because all the women see So-Hyun as trash. After thinking about it again, invited to find who is suitable, and the person who feels suitable for Hyun-do is Charon. Therefore he hopes So-Hyun is dating Charon, with her being his matchmaker. He brought Seo-hyun and Charon together, reasoning to build friendship. Hyun-do invites Goods hang out to the pool at the villa together. Charon, who didn't accept it, immediately slapped Hyun-do and said, "Don't think we're close to being crazy. Why do I have to go with you guys?" After that, So-Hyun a little annoyed. Why did you end up slapping just for an invitation? After investigation, it turned out that because Villa Gangbu is a place where many women take photos in bikinis and upload them to Instagram. There are also many high school students there, so felt Hyun-do deserved to be spanked. Besides that, he couldn't believe there were high school kids there, even though So-Hyun said that, but he told him not to give up on inviting Charon. So he said he gave up on it, because he felt Charon hated him. But this time the Yakuza asked him to discuss it. Then, at a supermarket, when they saw Charon shopping, they said that Kim So-Hyun and his men rented the swimming pool of the Gangbo villa. For that they asked if Charon was coming or not. "I'm not going," replied Charon. But Charon's friend asked Charon to come along. They want to add their IG flower from the photo there because the place is famous on IG. Then one said that just use it. So Hyun arrived there after various ways to invite. Finally Charon joined. She also wanted to buy a bikini somewhere. The waiting boss is seen, So-Hyun Yakuza and Hyun-dong. Hyun-dong asked why did Se-hun join who previously didn't want to join. So-Hyun said she just didn't want to look desperate. She was curious why she was here too. He didn't think so. He just wanted to tell about Tavilla and didn't expect Hajun to come. After a while, the women finally came. One of them was happy that Hajun was coming too. Meanwhile, So-Hyun sees Charon in her heart. She begs to be open. Seeing So-Hyun, who saw her bag, made Charon slap So-Hyun. After that, they went somewhere. There was a fight between Gambukdong High School and Gangnam. Looks that have finished killing the people there. Then one of his subordinates came saying SMA was moving, thinking So-Hyun to the area. But no, he just went on holiday, idiot. He then asked where did he go on vacation. Villa Pool, because there's a good area. They had arrived at Gangbu's pool villa. They split up there. So-Hyun and Hyun-dong went to check in. Hajun, who saw the Yakuza, made the Yakuza cold sweat. The women go towards their room. While walking, So-Hyun made another mistake and it made Charon slap him again. So-Hyun gave the reason that he thought the room was the same as the women. Charon was angry again and told him to leave. So-Hyun left because this vacation was only one night, so she didn't want to waste time. They entered the villa. Meanwhile, a group of people were seen watching Seo-Hyun and the others. They knew they were kids from Gangbuk. From seeing Hajun and Charon, they thought they had big guts for daring to enter other areas. One of them asked the one who seems to be the strongest among them, "Should we report to the higher-ups?" The man said, "No need," and asked his colleagues to get some points from Gangbuk High School. Tam and Charon is cool to take pictures to upload to IG with the aim of getting lots of followers. It doesn't feel like they've done a lot of photos that make them tired themselves. But still waiting for a photo together with Charon, who hasn't come yet. Then they talk about the body that is tempting to them, so much so that they pay no attention to it. But they regretted his nature. Otherwise, he would have become an idol. After that, Charon came, but they were surprised. It was because Charon was wearing a bikini, but what was even more unexpected was Charon. He thought everyone had agreed to wear a bikini. But it was all a misunderstanding, where Charon didn't read their message saying she didn't wear a bikini because high school kids didn't wear those clothes. She was embarrassed and ran to her room. His friends asked him to take a photo together because he was already wearing that outfit. But the Charon doesn't want to. Her friends imitate others that Charon uses a bikini in their room. So Hyun, who had joined in, became stupid. They both even asked Charon in the clothes earlier, but Charon immediately refused. Those who had finished eating did not know what else to do. But before that, the Yakuza casually told Hyun-do to clean up the dining area. Stupid Hyun-do happily complied. Meanwhile, Hajun is not seen with them. According to Hyun-do, he goes sports. He works hard, right? Even though women don't like bodies like that, said So-Hyun, who laughed afterwards. Even though only Hanjun ogled women. One of the women also asked to exercise too, but the other one refused because tomorrow will be checkout. While Charon, she felt bored and intended to go home. Charon's friends already know Charon's lazy nature. Hyun-dong suggests playing a game to Charon, and the loser has to shave his eyebrows even though he doesn't have any. So it was profitable for him. Charon asks what kind of game will be played. If it gets bored, then he will sleep 5 minutes later. Charon even looks enthusiastic about playing games. He gets into a fight with So-Hyun, who decides who loses and gets his eyebrows shaved. Then Hyun-dong glanced at Park Charon, which seemed like they had planned to get So-Hyun and Charon closer. Then already told them that there is no one who loses to them. Therefore asking to play a game, but only the two of them to determine who loses. The game that is made is get into the cupboard. Whoever comes out first loses. The condition is that you have to hold hands and hold on in the cupboard until someone gives up. Hearing hand in hand, they both get shocked. Charon didn't want to do it. This time Hyun-do is smart. He says if they don't want to, then they both have their eyebrows shaved. Charon's friend heated him up, said Charon. This is just a game. If you don't feel sorry, do it, or do you like him? From there, Charon had no choice. He held So-Hyun's hand and said, Get ready, I will shave your eyebrows. They went into the cupboard, closed the cupboard. The game is started. Then the Yakuza went walking out saying, You young adults are adults, huh? Unexpectedly, in front of the Yakuza, Gangbok kids turned out to be familiar with the Yakuza. She hadn't gone back into the cupboard because of the heat they were sweating. So-Hyun narrates that it's like in a movie. Suddenly a new additional quest appears. Looked at Charon and turned to face Charon. Charon asked what was wrong, but So-Hyun didn't answer until they looked at each other with blushing faces. The quest that appears is losing to Charon. Coming out of the wardrobe, the prize is 1 silver card. The prize is not bad according to So-Hyun. He could easily lose and get the prize, but he already felt happy now. Hey, asshole, why are you looking at me like that? Asked Charon, who was already very hot. We're close together. So it can't be helped. At least not to see me here. Charon already looks tired. Charon, who was sweating a lot, asked, "Hi, are you sick?" He says he is fine and asked to leave the hand only. But because the rules have to do that, so Su-Hyeon did not obey. Therefore Charon, who was like PMS again, was angry and asked Su-Hyeon to just leave. But if you do that, Su-Hyeon will lose, and her eyebrows will be shaved, so she doesn't want to come back. He also said that he promised to draw Su-Hyun's eyebrows later. After being noticed again, he saw Charon, who looked sick with panting breath, and asked about it. Before answering, Su-Hyun confidently said, "Do you want me to kiss you?" He tells the reason why he's like now. This was because he couldn't be in tight spaces. He had been bullied. Apart from being immediately shocked by it, the Charon continued his story. When in high school, Charon was bullied because of her eyes that looked sadistic. At that time, Charon, who was being bullied, just kept quiet. They locked Charon in the cleaning equipment room and left Charon. The incident got worse because Charon was afraid of the dark. That's why looking for someone who couldn't be in a dark and cramped place at the same time. After telling that, Charon realized, why did she tell Seo-hyun about her past? It turns out that Charon helped him during his bullying because it was related to his past. Therefore, Seo-hyun became a gentleman by saying that he would get out of here and should have talked about this from the start and let go of his holding hands while encouraging Charon. Charon didn't expect that either, but when she was about to leave, Seo-hyun couldn't open it. He assumed they were locked from the outside. So-hyun was screaming to open the door while threatening them. But because no one answered, besides thinking they left him in Chiron. Meanwhile, Charon was crying and thinking maybe she was being bullied again. But she felt she had done nothing wrong to her friend. So-hyun couldn't bear to see Charon like that, so he activated the weight enhancer and punched the door until it was destroyed. That way Charon left first, and Charon's succumb mission was successfully completed. So-hyun looks annoyed at Hyun-dong. Then Charon got closer to So-hyun's back holding his sleeve, thanked him and promised to draw his eyebrows if he shaved later. Then So-hyun confidently told Charon that he had just realized and was less sensitive, because that was the point he thought Charon liked him. For a moment he realized and immediately cursed So-hyun. They don't know that Charon in phobia is dark and has a past like that. That's fine, but I'll kill you if you do it again. So-hyun, whose eyebrows had been shaved, said, "That's right, I won't forgive you even if you say that." It was clear on their faces that the two women asked, what were So-hyun and Charon doing inside? Through Hyun-dong suddenly coming and shouting, "We are in big trouble," telling the Yakuza, he and 3 thugs from Gang High School who deliberately waited for the Yakuza to be alone, making sure are they the kids who watched us before? After making sure it was So-hyun, told him to leave it alone with the excuse that the former Yakuza were not the current Yakuza. In the current Yakuza place, he accepts bullying challenges. He looked down as if scared. Seeing that, they can't believe it. This Yakuza reports that it's scary, even a loser like this. They also toyed with the Yakuza. Shown the start of these 2 people who are quite strong as subordinates, as well as the one in red who is stronger than the previous 2, named Chang Seo. He didn't want to waste time with this weak-looking Yakuza, as he wanted to finish off the Hajun immediately. He immediately threw a punch, seeing that the Yakuza closed his eyes, but he remembered So-hyun's message that said, "Don't hesitate. If you don't doubt, you can become a real Yakuza." From the previous coaching cards, one was a random mid-level attack card, and it turns out that the mid-level attack card for this coach card is a systematic attack card, so Yakuza can do systemic martial arts. Using this self-defense, the Yakuza can attack that person with several attacks that render that person unconscious. His friends were shocked, while the Yakuza couldn't believe what he had just done. His body suddenly moved on its own, but according to him this was very great because he had never fought in his life. The punch is really strong. "Hey, you're deliberately hiding power, right?" Yakuza Jalan approached them grimly saying, "Sorry, I haven't introduced myself. I am Yakuza the Diablo," shown by the Yakuza belittling them by ordering to attack him first, and he himself will blindfold. Feeling underestimated, and seeing their opportunity, immediately step on the gas to attack the Yakuza who closed their eyes. Yakuza again closed his eyes, and hit one of them saying, "You shouldn't believe the words of your enemy." The other one was able to hit the Yakuza in the face, but he was surprised his attack stopped on the Yakuza face. He thought it didn't work, but actually the Yakuza felt pain. Then Yakuza with a strange movement landed several blows of the shells. With that, both of them also fell. The Yakuza also boasted while posing strangely. The Yakuza returned to the villa, praised him for beating high school kids. He said, "I actually hated doing it. but I had no choice if you were not in danger. Hearing that one of Charon's friends also complimented the Yakuza, the other one felt like throwing up and asked not to worry about her anymore. So-Hyun. It's good to see the Yakuza getting stronger, so she doesn't have to worry anymore. Then with his boss style, he faced the window and told Hyun-do to bring water. But Charon came and kicked the boys out of her room, then the boys left. When the women wanted to change their clothes to take pictures, So-Hyun suddenly joined in there while changing her clothes too, realizing that Charon immediately slapped him. He said he was here just in case, but still he was expelled Charon. So-Hyun was very upset, but a little more, thought Seo-Hyun. Since it was the last night of their vacation, he felt a little strange, because it's very quiet here. He had expected to fight with the high school kids. Yakuza says previously he won against his main squad, so So-Hyun thinks it's good too. No need to bother fighting, which is still a problem. Hajun isn't back yet either, so he wonders, where is Hajun? Somewhere Hajun meets someone. He greets Hajun because he has not seen for a long time. He was curious as to why Hajun had called him here. For that he came out. But what she told him, we're only here for the holidays, so Agung High School doesn't need to worry about that. He didn't like Hajun calling him here just because of that. Silent with a deadpan expression with his hands in his pockets. Then he turned and walked over to her. Hajun held the shoulder. Hajun and said, the reason I left those people under you alone was because they could lean on you. Still silent, looking at his shoulder being held, the person added, put your hand out when talking to me, and he is the #1 person of the high school or the holder of the most fiefdoms. Hajun was told to go. So-Hyun has returned home. He was greeted by his mother and sister. Dahyub asked how the place was. Was it the same as the one on IG? While his mother didn't expect So-Hyun, who seemed to have no friends forever, instead went on vacation together. Saw Seo-Hyun, who had no eyebrows, they asked. I played games with my friends. So-Hyun, who was tired, went straight to his room while lying down. He opened the quest reward silver card from Charon Succumbing, an activation-type card with the name Boomer. But he doesn't know whether this card is good or not. In a traditional house, the Yakuza also arrived at the house. Her look-alike father greeted her and asked if everything was okay. The Yakuza said that he was fighting. Besides, he was moving his body as he wanted, so he felt like he was awakening something. His father was surprised to hear that, so he asked, what exactly is flowing in my body? Dad, are you really just an ordinary office worker? The Yakuza told him to answer honestly. That's right, I'm just an ordinary office worker, and actually didn't even bother to explain. Yakuza's mother hit her father from behind and told him to eat fast. His father immediately apologized to his mother. Looks like there is a tattoo on her mother's arm. So-Hyun is a little suspicious here. Could it be that his mother was a Yakuza? The next day at high school, there was another rumor where So-Hyun was fighting again. He ordered the Yakuza and beat up high school kids. Look at So-Hyun without eyebrows. They think she shaved them because she won against SMA. On So-Hyun's side, he himself felt embarrassed to be seen without eyebrows. Then suddenly Charon came and took So-Hyun's hand. She made him leave, seeing that people thought they would kiss again. Arrived in class, So-Hyun was told to sit in a chair. Charon took out her eyebrow pencil and said with a red face, I promised I would draw your eyebrows. Charon started drawing eyebrows. But why was her position standing and So-Hyun sitting, so she felt uncomfortable? So from that she sat down, immediately dumbfounded while Charon's face was currently red. Then suddenly Junior came to class saying they had all shaved their eyebrows and suddenly was immediately stunned to see Charon and Seo-Hyun in the meeting room. The underlings shed tears with non-existent eyebrows. They also congratulated them for enjoying the holidays, seeing them crying because of their self-shaving eyebrows made So-Hyun say, he didn't order them to shave their eyebrows, so they can draw it again. Then they started the meeting and said that this was only the beginning. They should expand their area of power. So he asked who would be his next target. In line with Hyundong's words, the main quest appears where So-Hyun has to choose one of 3 quests, can't continue other quests after selecting the first quest. Attacking high school gang Bok reward 1 platinum card, second attack high school gang, 6 reward 1 gold card, the third attack Budok gang high school. The reward is 1 gold card. It's a hard choice for So-Hyun because the prizes are different depending on her choice. First, So-Hyun checked with the 3 high schools. Han Jae-ha from that high school had a bad relationship with Seo-Hyun. If you attack her, you only get 1 silver card, from high school 6. So-Hyun is on good terms with her. Her attack reward is quite a gold card, but if you attack her, you are afraid to disturb her. But if you want a prize, then Seo-Hyun will choose Gangbok High School. which has a platinum card as a prize. But So-Hyun still doesn't know what they like. There was a possibility that they might strike back. And after thinking it over carefully, So-Hyun decided who he would attack. Hearing So-Hyun's decision, he responded, "Sunbae, if you think about attacking that high school, you'd better just give up. Gesma's kids are on a different level. The children we met at the villa yesterday were the weakest. In fact, most of them fought well. Even the name of the gang was already on a different level. Every single one of them was at monster level. The place we fought at the villa was in the billiards room, and the leader there was extremely strong. Even if we won against them, there would be a problem if all the troops got revenge. We will all die, therefore Hyundo, who hopes So-Hyun will reconsider and suggest gradually increasing SMA's power." After hearing all that information, So-Hyun's face became serious. "Everyone gets ready. The place we attack is meanwhile high school karaoke. The troublemaker from Gigi-do tells Jae-ha that the high school is starting to move on. Interestingly, Jae-ha thought high school was targeting them, so he told his underlings to get up and leave for war. But matter said something else in high school. One of the underlings told Kang-seo that another high school started their movement. From there, he made a suggestion. What if you hit another high school from behind, while the high school is empty? He ordered to be alert and ready because this might be a trap prepared by Kim So-Hyun. Hence, he would act after seeing the situation. So far, SMA 6 doesn't know where they are headed. Kang-seo's still thinking about this. After a while, the annoying informant came and said that SMA came with only 3 people, and their goal was Gangbu High School. Kang-seok and Ji-ha, who heard that, were immediately dumbfounded. Meanwhile, So-Hyun, Yakuza, and Hyundo have arrived at the villa billiard room. There, Hyundo wanted to make sure again whether So-Hyun would really attack. So-Hyun is firm in her stance. She says that extending power can be done at any time, and what is needed now is a talented person. Therefore, So-Hyun will make the chairman of this place his friend. "What if they attack us?" Hyun asks, saying that he already has a plan. Apart from that, the most important thing for him is the platinum card. After looking around at the billiard table until we felt we were about to be attacked, the people at the billiard table stared intently at So-Hyun and the others when So-Hyun asked about their leader. Suddenly someone came in. She was Song Haru, the number 39 high school, who looked like a woman. She was a default customer. He said that they were from high school who wanted to find emotion. Look at the leader who looks like a beautiful woman. They like her. Without thinking, he asked her to be a member of his crew. Emotion as confused, he was suddenly recruited. He said, "Why suddenly say that?" So-Hyun explained that she liked him at first sight. Right after that, Haru kicked So-Hyun's head. "Are you kidding me? I know I'm number 39 in high school, and I have a billiards place. So, if you're here to entertain me, huh?" Hyundo screamed, attacking emotion. "This girl, how dare you!" Haru immediately hit Hyundu, saying, "I'm a man." He praised Haru, and did not expect a woman's speed to be like this. Haru immediately said that he was not a woman. Then the Yakuza intervened. "Kim Dong shouldn't let your guard down even though she's a woman. She's still an enemy. Therefore, let me show you what I'm capable of." Currently, the Yakuza is known as the number 2 person in high school. But So-Hyun told the Yakuza not to get involved. Let him do it. Besides, it was the first time that a woman's spanking felt like it to him. The entry card was active. Once emotion jumped back to hit So-Hyun, saying, "I'm not a woman." After that, So-Hyun launched a strike. Emotion can also avoid it. So-Hyun is not worried that his punch will be avoided. He instead finds emotion charming. While dodging his punches didn't end there, yet again had to dodge them. The Yakuza were surprised to be able to avoid all of So-Hyun's attacks, while the subordinates of Haru were astonished to see the equivalent of Haru. In addition, the movement of emotion is now starting to slow down. Both parties are cheering them on. So-Hyun praised Haru, who fought extraordinarily. For him, he knows emotion has gone through a lot. Other than inviting Haru back into his crew, then saying, "I've seen a lot of people until now, but I think you are the best among them. I'm praising you not because you're very beautiful." So-Hyun made a bet if he had to be a member of his crew, and an additional quest appeared, a silver card. Have to hit. So-Hyun managed to avoid it, followed by using a left hand which this time hit Haru's stomach. Emotion did not fall. He returned to throw his punch. So-Hyun managed to avoid it. It was So-Hyun's turn to use Strike's fist to Haru's face. Haru used both of his hands as shields. Then So-Hyun thought of a way to end this fight. Saw So-Hyun, who looked the other way. Haru managed to go right in front of So-Hyun. As if losing, So-Hyun's head fell to his chest with emotion. I feel sad that he won, but I'm still confused about what won. Only this much? Turns out So-Hyun was just pretending. He caught the emotion of using a weight enhancer while saying that your clothes are very nice. Then So-Hyun lifted his emotion, then slammed it on the floor, which made emotion unconscious. Her friends were stunned. Then So-Hyun whispered into Haru's ear, who fainted. Give up, you can't run away from that battle. Successfully completed high school attack quest. Get 1 platinum card. Emotion that fainted remembered his fight with the number 2 SMA. Looks already battered. He did not accept. Why is he number 39? So he asked for a rematch and asked to be included in the plan. The number 2 doesn't care. He kicked a heart full of emotion. He was thrown into the wall and fainted. He then said, Our future plans don't need weaklings like you. You should be grateful for being number 39. I gave you a billiards area that's close to the high school. Keep an eye out for our enemies. That's all you weaklings can do. The trash is even more useful than you. When he woke up, emotion was already in the classroom. When sitting, he felt pain. Kim Dong, who was looking after him, told him not to get up yet while he was making traditional medicine that he learned only for his master. I'm having a bad dream, but where is this? Said Haru. From gusts of wind answered this Gangbuk High School. You fainted and we brought you here. But don't worry, I won't touch a fragile woman's body. Haru immediately clarified that he was not a woman. He walked to the exit. So-Hyun stopped him and reminded him that he had promised to be a member of his crew, but I still didn't want to. Because of this situation, he used his card. The card can increase the possibility of deceiving someone. Then said seriously, I'm saying this for your own good. How old are you? 17, yes. If you are 17, then you must have big dreams. Is being satisfied with just a billiards hall incomplete, isn't it? Must agree with the condition to grant his request later. That way, the recruiting quest must be completed successfully. So Hyun immediately ran to Haru's place and hugged him, saying of course and happy to recruit talented people. Haru told So-Hyun to let go. She was touched to make new friends. Moreover, she is a talented woman. After breaking away from So-Hyun, Haru told me there was a big problem. That was because So-Hyun had attacked Gangbuk, especially according to one of the people. If they knew they were bothered, the Gangbukbo high school kids would get angry and attack him. In addition, Haru said that he did not dare to go against the Gangbuk leadership, and if So-Hyun did not solve this problem, he would not work with So-Hyun. Seeing her emotionless behavior felt her cute, then held her shoulder saying, You don't need to worry about that. Back to the billiard villa, he felt happy to have returned. They were worried that they would join So-Hyun. Then thought things came back here because they had beaten all the kids, but they were a little weird with emotion now, so quiet. It turns out that Haru, who was in their place, was the assigned copying cloud. Being shown as number 39 is very exaggerated. Haru asked how So-Hyun managed to overcome it. It's a secret, he answered. He then made Haru wear a ribbon on his head. Haru can't deny it because So-Hyun threatens him to report that Haru is a traitor. After that, So-Hyun permission to go to the toilet. In the toilet, looking at the cards he got just now, 1 silver and 1 platinum card. Can't wait to open the cards. The first one to open is the silver card, a sport card called Table Tennis, forehand stroke. This is a trash card for So-Hyun. Then opened the platinum card. So-Hyun suddenly waited for what was in it. It turned out to be a regular type card with the name of a diaper. With a strange description, So-Hyun was wet in his pants. So-Hyun was confused about the purpose of this card. Then a new coach quest appears, moving to Gangbuknam High School. You can see tomorrow who is doing fitness. He heard the news that Gambo Seo attacked Kambo. 6 red uniforms will end now. It's because of the high school number 1. Won't let himself fall. Then the big troublemaker from Gangnam comes. He informs that the troop is under attack. It's Jaiha. But apparently they were attacked, not knowing what he was thinking. They should be attacking Gangbuk. The troublemaker had also thought like that before, but he mentioned that Gangbuk High School didn't take any damage. Songharu number 39 is okay. Their current fight location is in the underpass. Then he added, if don't help now, our troops will be taken over. Meanwhile, at the multiplication place in the underpass, Yakuza and Haru, a Yakuza subordinate, said, Haru, how come you can take turns with me if you're tired, lady? I'm not a woman, Sarong replied. I'm currently the number 5 of high school, while the Yakuza is number 2, and it turns out that the supervisor's quest that appeared in the toilet earlier was to find disturbing high school business problems. So-Hyun asked to stop talking and invited to attack. Seeing a beautiful girl joining in a fight, the gang high school boy mocked her. They were as if they were intimidating a woman. Haru looked silent, but they continued to chatter. Because of that, I immediately punched one of them by saying, "I'm not a jerk." Did not accept his friends. One of them punched Haru. Haru managed to avoid it, then grabs the person's shoulders and jumps on top of him. But others worship C's emotion. The man said that he learned from his father. Charon grabbed her hair. Then she wanted to punch Haru, but Haru faster than him. He kicked both of them at once. Seeing that there were many opponents, Haru told Su-Hyeon to join the fight to help him. After emotion looking back, he was surprised by Su-Hyeon, who instead sat on one of the children he defeated. Have to call him several times. It turns out that he is currently analyzing Haru's abilities and writing them on the notepad. He gets the conclusion that he has incredible speed, but weak strength and endurance. The danger is that he fights in the air, but has no skills. Therefore, if he gets an attack card from the builder card, he will give it to Haru. Meanwhile, Haru kept calling Su-Hyeon for help, but Su-Hyeon instead turned towards the Yakuza fight. Su-Hyeon thought if Haru got an attack type card, no matter how low his start, he would be like the Yakuza shown Yakuza fighting with his systemic martial arts. He easily beat his opponent. Then Charon thought how to find Agung's business system. Meanwhile, many high school kids ran away with their bags. Su-Hyeon didn't know what they were doing. On the emotional side, he finished finishing off all the pieces. He looked very tired and said, "I shouldn't have joined them." "Then do you want to join Gangnam High School?" "You are my type." One of the higher-ups appears. "But you're not my type," said Emotion with a serious face. Haru felt he was stronger than him. It was shown that if Su-Hyeon looked taller. Haru wasn't sure he could win because he was exhausted. In the Yakuza section, he managed to beat all his opponents and pose strangely. After that, he was arrogant by saying that fighting with them was boring. A second later, a fist suddenly landed on the Yakuza's face. He hit his Bang Junkie High School gangbuck number 17. Junkie says he wants to fight Yakuza the Diablo at least once. But after paying attention to the Yakuza, Junkie became body-shaming, saying the Yakuza were ugly. Shown, which is almost the same as number 18, Yakuza gets up strangely, but his nose is bleeding. The Yakuza sensed he was strong. Meanwhile, Su-Hyeon was teaching and beating people who ran away with bags. She took one of the bags and she was curious about its contents. He opened the resetting bag. When he saw the contents, he was hugged from behind by someone and lifted Su-Hyeon while saying, "You shouldn't just open other people's bags." His body that looks very big. He is the number 10 of high school named Wang Dong-woo, uses weight gain but is not active. Correspondingly, it performs a suplex. After doing the suplex, Dong-woo will not believe it. He underestimated, so Yeon felt pain in his spine. He didn't expect to be hit by a surprise attack from behind and felt that the weight gainer was off with anxiety. Then So-Hyun also ate the restorer nuts. When he was about to get up, he was sat on by Dong-woo, so So-Hyun couldn't move. He immediately punched her repeatedly on the spot in So-Hyun's face. At Kang Seo's location, he asks how the situation is in the underpass. His underling says Dong-woo and the twins fought with the kids, but they still look worried. "You already said that Dong-woo and the twins are pretty good at it, so there's no need to worry about them. All Kang Seo is worried about is the business in the bag. If it is taken, then there will be trouble for Gangnam." Then the big troublemaker gets a call from Underpass saying they won easily, and the twins make fun of So-Hyun and the others. Dong-woo then gave the twin versions of the bag, telling him to take good care of it. If not, Kang Seo will be angry, and they might die. Then Dong-woo said, "We were so close to letting our valuable business be stolen." Hearing that, So-Hyun opened his eyes and he knew that Gangnam's business was in the bag. "Only 3 people came here? We are indeed weak as you say, and you think we are here without certainty?" Dong-woo and the twins did not understand the meaning of So-Hyun's words. He stood up and continued, "Do you guys believe in miracles?" Previously, when So-Hyun opened the platinum card that got the diaper card, it turned out that this card has a function. If when all crew members can't fight anymore, some starts will be increased for 1 minute, and physical resistance will be restored. Can be used once a month. Because the conditions had been met, So-Hyun activated the diaper card. Dong-woo and the twins looked surprised to see the Yakuza and Haru, who had fainted, get back up with full stamina, and their start had been improved. In the afternoon, and the group arrived at the underpass. But what they saw did not match what was discussed. On the phone, all the kids who were there have been defeated, even Dong-woo and the twins, and what's worse, their business talk disappears. Kang Seo looked so angry. He opened his eyes that were always closed. He told his subordinates to call Han Jae-ha and tell him from now on it will be a real war. But first, he will beat up Kim So-Hyun. Meanwhile, on the street, So-Hyun returns and is happy to ride a bike with the Yakuza on a bicycle. So-Hyun looks happy by making a bag containing other high school businesses. After that, they took the bag to a playground. They were curious about the identity of what they said was an important high school business. Haru is a very excited person. He told So-Hyun to quickly open. He wonders what's in it. After opening it, turned out that the contents of the package had pain relievers written on it. Haru-dan So-Hyun thinks this is for parents. Another perception arises from them where they think Kong is sick. It had something to do with his eyes, so they thought Kong was ready to use this drug to make his eyes less squinty again. Then So-Hyun has another opinion. He thinks Kang Seo is a jerk where he makes money from selling these patches to parents on the bus, with the threat that if they don't want to buy, they won't be allowed to get off. It irritated him. Haru believed in that assumption, but So-Hyun's and Haru's assumptions were wrong, according to Yakuza. In a wise-cracking style, he explained that the real name of this patch and pain is Ventanil. Patch a little bit. So-Hyun explained about this vinyl. Ventanil is a pain reliever and pain medication. Usually doctors prescribe this drug to relieve pain that recurs due to cancer or severe pain caused after surgery. This drug degrades artificial opioids similar to morphine, but 50 to 100 times more potent, also used for recreational purposes, sometimes mixed with heroin, cocaine, or methamphetamine, and these actions have the potential to cause a lethal overdose. Continuing his explanation, this is a type of drug that relieves pain or pain. Hearing that, Haru and So-Hyun immediately surprised. But according to the Yakuza, this is not a drug that can damage people, but a painkiller that cannot be abused. The Yakuza consider the law to be weakened due to the circulation of this drug. How come Yakuza know about this? The Yakuza also said that he knew about this from his mother, but he also felt it was strange how his mother knew about this drug, and from there, So-Hyun considered Cancel a bad person. But he's grateful that Cancel doesn't disturb the parents, and from the Yakuza's explanation, the supervisor's quest to find a high school black business has been successfully completed, getting a prize of 6 coach cards at once, 2 mid-level coach cards for strength, 2 mid-level coach cards for speed, 1 enthusiast card medium level for durability, and 1 medium level random attack card. In a disturbing high school internet cafe, Jae-ha was seen playing a game. In the middle of that, he was called by Kang Seo. He was talking to them about the Kangsil business that was stolen by So-Hyun. Kang Seo wants to make a deal with Jae-ha. He asked Jae-ha to beat up So-Hyun's subordinates, while he will directly handle So-Hyun. Hearing that Jae-ha said that he was not sane, he told Cancel to calm down first. Other than that, only 1 bag was taken. Cancel also knew the meaning of Jae-ha's words, so he asked what he wanted for this request. Jae-ha wants some areas controlled by Cancel, where the area is the area that passes through the Gangbok area, and if given that area, Jae-ha will beat up So-Hyun's subordinates, he finally agreed. But he was getting angry. He threatens that if he makes a mistake he will kill him. I will show you. So-Hyun looks tired from today's quest. Right now he doesn't know what he will do with this Gangnam business. Then he thought about planting the builder card he got. He thought about who he would upgrade. He could have given himself away as he's also an acro player. But he wasn't mad because he already had a lot of strong cards, and thought it would be better to raise all of them evenly, as they are in the game. First thought of emotion. If it gives endurance and strength to Haru, then he will become very strong. An attack card will also be given to him, but apart from not knowing what skills will be, what comes out of the last attack card is the system's self-defense given to the Yakuza. In addition, the strength of the Yakuza has increased, so So-Hyun feel enough with the current development. Thinking about all this makes So-Hyun more confused. Then suddenly, a big problem carrier called Su-Hyun. He said that high school was disturbing. Do come to Gangbuk High School, which is located here. So-Hyun asked, "Why is that?" The troublemaker doesn't know either, but he feels that they have an agreement with Gangnam, that the worst thing is that Su-Hyun's current subordinates can't beat the initial high school team consisting of number 14 Gangbudok High School, number 13 Daesung, Dohyuk, and number 5 Park Jaeon, who are now their strength has increased. Rushed to their destination and asked who was holding the 3 people, and it turned out that the person number 4 of Lee Hyundong High School was dealing with the 3 people. Hyundo looks already battered, he said. I didn't expect you guys to do a surprise attack. But Hyundu doesn't know what he should do in the future. Besides, the other high school kids had been defeated. Even so, he was determined to protect everything. Not afraid of the 3 of them, Hyundo got up and ran to beat them. But Daesung easily kicks with his knees, stomach, and crashes to the ground, saying, "Why is Hyundo so strong?" Not only that, Daesung sat on Hyundo's face with his ass. Don't you have any shame? How come it can be number 4, even you are weaker than those before? Turns out you're just Kim So-Hyun's errand boy. Hearing all that, in Hyundong's heart, He felt that everything was true. He's just a weak person who is always a burden for Su-Hyeon. He thinks the number 2 Yakuza, number 3, well, while himself there is no change. So he wanted to be like them. Then Do-yuk told Dae-sung to take over and told him to call So-hyun and tell Seo-yeon that tonight he would lose. He felt himself a worthless piece of trash, a burden on everyone, tears in his eyes because of this. Meanwhile, while running to the location, So-hyun was called by Park Ji-yeon using Hyun-do's cell phone. He asked why you are using Hyun-dong's cell phone. Stupid, huh? Why do you think we're on his cell phone? Already lost him. If you're curious, come here. From now on, this area will be ours. You know that you started this war, right? I will take his leg as a gift. The phone was closed, Park Ji-yeon. After that, before speaking while running to the destination, a Windows notification pops up saying Hyun-do's position. With the intention of this Windows notification, then Hino's potential is full and reaches the maximum level. Hyun-do also rose, and his stats have increased. This person was a bit surprised, then ordered Dae-sung kill Hyun-dong. Because of its full potential, the system gives special attacks to Hyun-do, exclusive abilities to special attack cards. Hyun-dong can master all the tools he holds easily, and can improve his skills. The current range is still F. Dae-sung threw his punch at Hyun-dong. Unexpectedly, he was able to launch several months of Dae-sung using a wooden stick. Surprised to see that, Dae-sung didn't fall, but he didn't seem to believe a wooden stick could be that strong. He felt pain because of that. Besides that, how can Hyun-do, who is about to die, still stand tall? Managed to launch an attack on Dae-sung, making Hyun-dong's strength go up 1 level to B. Then to the point of shouting out saying, I want to be strong even though I am weak, but this is my small ability compared to all of them. I'm nothing. I will fight not to be left behind. I didn't even think about becoming this strong, but I just wanted to not be a burden to them. He then opens his shirt, draws blood on his eyebrows, and says that he is now Hyun-dong with eyebrows. Keep mocking him. Besides that, they also win in numbers. Then suddenly he casually came and said, that was cool, Hyun-dong. With his arrival, Park Ji-yeon was shocked, scared, and broke into cold sweat. Meanwhile, Hyun-do was still fighting with Dae-sung with the piece of wood. Apparently the swing was not able to beat Dae-sung. He returned, swinging the wooden stick at Dae-sung, but parried it with his arm, followed by punching Hyun-dong in the face, which made Hyun-dong crash into a container. It didn't stop there. He came back closer to Hyun-dong and showed his punch. So-hyun was still running to his destination. He felt he had to hurry to his destination. Even though Hyun-do has already experienced awakening in his strength, his stats are still not as strong as the 3 high school guys he is currently fighting, let alone its potential, still F, very weak. But suddenly, So-hyun became shocked when he saw Hyun-do's new stats. That was because his strength suddenly became a plus. It was caused by Hyun-do, who changed weapons to the exhaust. It turns out that when the weapon he holds changes, his stats will also change, adjusting accordingly. Hyun-do then immediately got up and threw a punch using the exhaust. Directly using a weapon is a cowardly thing, and he also hates it, but he doesn't want to be left behind even if he has to be a coward. With the end of those words from his heart, Hyun-do collapsed on top of Dae-sung's body. Then he still thought of 2 more people and planned to help Ha-jun, but he had no energy anymore. On Ha-jun's side, he has beaten Do-hyun without a single scratch. With one hand still in his pocket, he said that Hyun-do wasn't cool. Park Gun became emotional. He opened his shirt and immediately threw his fist at Ha-jun. Ha-jun managed to avoid it. He attacked again. This time with his elbow, Ha-jun dodged it again. Park Gun said that he was very upset because he fainted from Ha-jun's previous surprise attack. By throwing another punch, he said, I would show you something different this time. Even so, every single one of his attacks was simply dodged by Ha-jun. Then Park Ji-yeon said that he would show that he was different from before. Ha-jun is just ignorant. Then Park Ji-yeon, who is indeed very temperamental, his emotions are rising again, and then he bangs his head. Park Ji-yeon already felt he was much stronger than Ha-jun and proud of his attack just now. So he asked, how? Different, right? You can't be like me. But even though blood was running down his forehead, Ha-jun was still indifferent, and thought that Park Ji-yeon had not changed at all. Then still with a cold look, Ha-jun grabbed Park Ji-yeon's face, followed by hitting the side of Park Ji-yeon's body, which made Park Ji-yeon's ribs crack. When it didn't get there, Ha-jun again hit Park Ji-yeon's stomach repeatedly, while clutching Park Ji-yeon's mouth, which made him unable to speak. But Park Ji-yeon felt his body crumble. Ha-jun threw his last punch again to end Park Ji-yeon. Park Ji-yeon, who saw that, felt he would not survive. But suddenly someone kicked Ha-jun's head, which made Ha-jun crash towards the car. I'm already here. Are you good at fighting? Even though he's like that, it's my friend, said Jae-ha, who came with the entourage. You brought a lot of people, huh? Ha-jun said. Jae-ha said, Is it too much to catch a Hajun? He then arrogantly asked. Was Kim So-Hyun not here yet? Hajun had not answered yet. Then Jae-ha said that all this will be over quickly, because he will use the newly appointed special team to fight Hajun. The team consists of Chong Kyung, Tai-oh, Bun-seo, and Jang Yong-seo. But Hajun didn't care and told Jae-ha not to talk too much. While lighting his cigarette, he ordered the action team to attack Hajun. The fight begins. Hajun can hit one by one of the three of them. They are shown to be very strong indeed. While watching the action team fight, he instead tells that the action team's goal is to find out the enemy, and Jae-ha raised them to catch the principals of the school. You're pretty strong too. Do you know how hard it was for me to find them? I want to see how long they can last against you. Meanwhile, Hyundo, called Su-Hyeon, informs what happened at his place, where Jae-ha has come and brought his action team, who are currently fighting Hajun. Through Hyundo, he said that the action team was pretty great. So-Hyun told Hajun to cheer up, and he'll be right there. But because of his stupidity, Hyundo instead gave encouragement to So-Hyun. Not me, but Hajun. Because he had been running for a long time, So-Hyun stopped. He feels tired, even though he has run fast. The goal is still far away, and if it continues like this, he feels that when he gets there, the fight is over. But he was grateful Hajun joined the fight. He then thinks of a way to help them. For a moment, he remembered something. Meanwhile, at Hajun's place, Jae-ha was a little amazed by the Hajun that still looked solid while the action team looked tired. But Jae-ha is still curious about the action team who wants to make Hajun tired. But still not really. Instead, they are being taught. But if Hajun loses stamina, then the task of the action team is done. Seeing all that, he offers Hajun to join Haradong. Jae-ha will give him what he wants, so he invites them to build an action team and defeat Gangbok High School together. Not caring about the offer, Hajun asked Jae-ha to light his cigarette. One of the action team got annoyed and threw his punch at Hajun. He hit Hajun in the face. Jae-han orders the action team to move again. And if Hajun is tired, then the action team is considered victorious. But he was surprised by something. Back to So-Hyun, where he finds a way to help Hajun from afar, namely using a mentor card. He used the 6 mentor cards he got earlier. Seemingly feeling nothing from the punch earlier, Hajun launched a strike from his elbow that hit this guy's face. Hajun's elbow attack comes from the coaching card, the type of attack named as a street martial arts developed based on natural instincts. Fighting martial arts and street fighting techniques, the development of this martial art is based on his experience fighting on the streets of Spain, with the help of his colleagues. He then threw a barrage of combo punches that left one of the action teams unable to follow his moves, and could only take all the punches. All are stunned to see Hajun attack, as well as the dumbfounded Jae-ha, who Jae-ha knows, a fusion martial art that is one of the most powerful close combat techniques ever devised and freely used for self-defense in warfare. In addition, the whole body becomes a weapon in this martial art. Your stunt team won't be able to beat me. You said you wanted to beat our leader? Jae-ha was still stunned as if he couldn't believe it. So-Hyun is stronger than me, said Hajun with a serious face, and displayed his upgraded stats, even if a little. Meanwhile, So-Hyun felt something was odd. He was the one who had given the 5 upgrade cards, but could only add a little start Hajun. On second thought, he realized that increasing the start for high-level ones would use up a lot of builder cards at once. Whatever happened, he had to get to his destination quickly and hope nothing happened. At Hajun's location, he tells Jae-ha to wait. Meanwhile, he was teaching stunt teams. By this time, 2 action teams had fallen, but he felt strange. How could he know his current fighting technique? But he felt he knew this technique from a long time ago. Even his straight punches felt natural to him. But that doesn't matter. The most important thing for him is that he can win. When Hajun wanted to finish off the 3rd action team with a final punch, Jae-ha did a surprise attack with his leg that hit him right in the temple bone. But the thing that remained resisted the attack. This is my attack. Why did you hold it this time? I feel ignored, but you feel dizzy, right? What the right people say about your careless self. But Jae-ha was still in awe of Hajun, who was still standing after his sharp surprise attack from her. Hajun felt a little strange. Why is he still standing after getting a fatal kick to the head? Even so, his head feels dizzy. Then Jae-ha threw a kick at Hajun's head. Hajun was still able to block with both hands. On the other hand, Hajun felt the distance. Now it's very dangerous because Jae-ha is a foot fighter. Therefore, he thought of a way to get closer. When he wanted to get closer, Jae-ha's kick hit Hajun's face first. It didn't stop there. Jae-ha kicked Hajun's head again, followed by multiple leg kicks while saying, "In a fight, strength and stamina are not everything but the balance of power." Then he jumped on it, then said, "Sleep," while his legs are ready to launch the final attack with the intention of finishing Hajun. He threw the kick. Unexpectedly, Hajun could hold Jaeha's leg with his hand, followed by punching Jaeha's chin, which made Jaeha fall. Jaeha was annoyed because of that. He held his sore chin and walked close to the Hajun. Hajun looked exhausted. Therefore, it was enough for him to fight with Jaeha. He says that today he lost, but not next time. Besides that, he knew So-Hyun had come and said that he was the one who would finish it. So-Hyun opened his shirt with a challenging pose, with a serious expression. "You come, huh? I thought I'd see you last. Are you sure you can win?" But So-Hyun saw that Jaeha had taken a lot of damage from Hajun, so he was grateful to use his card on Hajun. So-Hyun also said that this was also different from the previous one, because from now on it will be serious. It turns out that the main troop of Trusive Dong has arrived. Surprised, he thought he was going to have a bye-one with Jaeha, but it turns out he brought a friend. Judging from So-Hyun's expression, Jaeha could tell that So-Hyun was surprised, because it's not a solo versus solo battle. Besides that, So-Hyun doesn't seem to use any strategy. Fighting recklessly without a strategy? Then Hyundo approached So-Hyun saying that we are a big problem because Kang Seok and his army are on the move, who seem to want revenge. Jaeha heard those words. Jaeha also said Kang Seo moved at the right time. This is what is called a battle between high schools. Why won't you know when the enemy will attack you? You won't know when the enemy will become your partner. Without you knowing, you are already involved in this war. You're the one who put yourself in this problem, and the effect of So-Hyun's previous actions? His colleagues are affected. Then Jaeha said that today's hilt will disappear and ordered his men to break the children's legs. Knowing he was pressed for time, So-Hyun asked to make a deal where he would return Jaeha's business contents bag, and Jaeha would be able to use it to threaten himself and his colleagues, released today, and could arrest him at any time in exchange for a deal. But he threatens to light a match to burn this business, while saying if so, you can take it before it turns to ashes. Jaeha thinks So-Hyun is crazy, but from there Jaeha finally agreed by saying, "You better put down the bag and go." Meanwhile, on a street, you can see Gangnam High School troops. Then Jaeha called and said he had handed over the business to Kang Sol, and Kang seemed to be the one who stole, betrayed, and he looked very angry. The next day at school, So-Hyun apologizes to her colleagues for involving them in this matter. He found Jaeha's words true about having to look at the people around him. Yakuza also said it was okay, and even then it was over. Meanwhile, the area of the high school that has been expanded is shown. Then the Yakuza said they had to anticipate the future because the Boxo gang could be attacked at any time. Therefore, he suggested that we must have a strategy. But we must say that none of us are strategists. That's right, among them, according to So-Hyun, only Hyun-dong is the smart one. So-Hyun only specializes in internal matters, not a strategist. Hyundo told him that he knows Serong, who is an expert in strategy. Apart from being an expert in strategy, this person is also an expert in internal matters. He is a crew member who once controlled disturbances, known as the number 2, in God Dog named Jin Hyuk. Many crew members wanted to take him but were always refused. Because of that, the whole gangbuck left him. In line with Hyundo's explanation, a new supervisor notification appears, recruiting new members whose names are still a mystery. Then he told So-Hyun to recruit him, and if he was recruited, he was sure he would win easily. The rewards from this quest are spawned: 2 advanced builder cards for strength, 2 advanced builder cards for speed, and 1 advanced builder card for random skills. So-Hyun felt this gift was great, so So-Hyun rushed to recruit him and asked him where he lived. He knows where he lives, but he thinks recruiting him won't be easy. He doesn't want to use his abilities for war. That's why he refuses all offers, so that it was impossible to recruit him. Yakuza say, "Don't give up and nothing is impossible." They finally went to where the strategist named Kang Ji-hoo was. Arriving in front of Ji-Hyuk's house, they were stopped and told to return by someone who said Ji-ho was busy. Yakuza wanted to threaten him by saying, "Hey, don't you know Kim? So-Yeon is the runner?" But he is stopped instantly. He introduces himself and says today is not his day, so he left a message that he will be back tomorrow. On the way home, So-Hyun told about the saying that if you want to be successful, you have to be patient. Meanwhile, Hyun-dong looked like he wanted to say something, but otherwise kept showing his words that his actions were at Chandong. If you don't get a strategist, according to So-Hyun, you won't have a future. Hyun-do immediately asked So-Hyun to stop, and immediately pointed, "Why didn't I tell you earlier? I don't want to get involved in Sa Ji-hyuk's turf." When he looked at So-Hyun and the others, He was shocked and fascinated by Haru, who was fixing his hair tie. With his perverted look, he said this was fate, and from there he invited his colleagues to enter, including the woman. Ji-hoon sat down politely, saying that when Jae-ha attacked, he gave up the business that was entrusted to him, to take care of all his crew members. He didn't expect it to become such a big deal. How to solve this problem? This will work itself out, because business is life for South Kalimantan. He will definitely try hard to get it back, before further explaining according to denial, and a little annoyed that Ji-hyo is 1 year younger than him. Just casually speaking informally. He didn't care. He continued his explanation. The war would not be avoided. The business would be lost. It would be a loss for South Kalimantan. Meanwhile, Jae-ha wants to exchange some of his territory for his business. Plus, Gangnam will try to expand power. After that, they will attack. What to do with it? Like Hyuk promised at the beginning, Gangnam and harassed Dong will attack Gangboxer. If they attack together, the Gangbuk will be crushed because it doesn't have enough power to stop both of them. But Ji-ho has a way to stop their attacks while simultaneously expanding his territory, namely, by borrowing outside help. As if not listening to the informal explanation earlier, Hyundo stood up and said that he didn't have outside help, because all of them were enemies. There is, according to Ji-hyo, and the school is Gangbok. Ji-ho suggested enlisting the help of some troops from them, which would be used to stop Jae-ha's invasion and make a deal with Gangbok, where if you manage to get the enemy's territory, then the chance to divide it. Although not interested, but according to Ji-ho, it's natural for them to want power, and so they won't refuse. Although a little disbelieving, So-Hyun also felt that Ji-ho had a point too. Then Ji-ho opened the long cloth behind him, containing a map of the territory. He said, "This is Gangbok's plan, and Gangbok High School Alliance will be in Gangbuk-dong area. They were there to attack, that way So-Hyun and the others would be able to attack Kang-seok undisturbed." With this, the war between the three disturbing territories started. Even though Hyundo and the Yakuza seriously listened to all of Ji-hyo's explanations, So-Hyun was pensive, thinking for the first time he saw, why is there someone as ugly as this Ji-hyo? Even so, he was amazed by Ji-ho's explanation. So from that, he immediately invited Ji-ho to be a member of his crew. He refused because he was not interested in war. But when he looked at the emotion that was hot, finally he agreed to So-Hyun's invitation. With Yong Ji-hyuk joining, Ji-ho's coaching mission has been completed, rewarded with 2 advanced builder cards for strength, 2 advanced builder cards for speed, and 1 advanced builder card for random skills. Suddenly came someone who asked, "Are they your friend?" Ji-ho called him Hyung-soon. He is Ji-ho's older brother named Jong Jin-hyuk, the analytical Ali. He was number 2 in God Dog. Don't even think about recruiting him because he's already part of a place called Ilha. Out of curiosity, So-Hyun took a peek at the location, which turned out to have the ability of a leader's level. Gang-bu, who was completely different from his younger brother, saw Ha-jun sitting on a tire at the battle site. Then suddenly came 2 frontmen from Gangbo High School who approached him. "Hey, is that Go Ha-jun?" "He really Go Ha-jun. I heard you lost to Han Jae-ha." He hears Ha-jun asking them to hold Bullydong with her. Meanwhile, Kim So-hyun and the others attacked Gangbu 6 High School. Then asked, "Do you have a strategist?" After that, do condescendingly bother. So-hyun tired of listening to the chatter of that person. Ha-jun immediately hit Jung-chan's stomach, with just 1 punch that Jung-chan felt excruciating pain. "Hey, listen carefully," Ha-jun said. But someone came to stop them and told them to save energy to fight bullies. Kang-san. His stats are shown him greeting Ha-jun and asking how Ha-jun is. Ha-jun looks a little worried, so asks if it's Kang-san who's here to help. Kang-san replied that his boss didn't know, and also he didn't think his boss would care about his movements. So he asked not to worry. Apart from that, at the moment, he has nothing to do, but if he gets good results, he hopes to move up the rankings, and from there they agreed to work together. After that, Ha-jun called So-hyun, who was currently in Taman. Ha-jun reported that the children wanted to cooperate with him, and said that he would move forward with the children. When Ha-jun wanted to hang up the phone, So-hyun thanked him for protecting him, said that he did all that because he didn't like it. He hung up the phone. But So-hyun knew Ha-jun was lying. Other than lying in his usual place, he realized too late that he was the weakest of all the members of his crew. He did too many upgrades to his crew to the point that he didn't receive a share, even though he became strong because of his own cards, but he was still the weakest based on the start. Therefore, So-hyun wanted to become stronger. He has 5 coach cards. He thinks of giving it all to his self. But he was a little worried that if he got stronger, the quest would also be as difficult as in the game. But in order for Ji-ho's plan to succeed, he needs himself to be strong so that everything goes smoothly. so he needed another plan to get strong first. He could train with Copycat Cloud, but now he is busy. Another way that comes to mind is doing side quests. But he got hit by thugs around here, he finished. So he had to go. But the problem is, he is already famous. So he needed a plan, and for a moment he thought of something. Then in the Gangbok area, Su-Hyeon went there to disguise himself with his head covered in a bag. Gangbok's area is the most extensive, and doesn't have much info about him. There he met some underlings. It turned out that the main quest appeared, not the side quests. 4 descriptions of the quest. The first is to check the level of the Gangbok area for 5 people, and the second to 4th. It's still a mystery the prize is 1 diamond card. Didn't wait long for one of his subordinates to come and punch him. Su-Hyeon managed to avoid it. The man was surprised that his punch could be avoided. Then he asked, "Who are you?" Before answering, Su-Hyeon hit him first and said his name was King. Su-Hyeon felt that this place was a good grinding level place, but Su-Hyun's punch didn't really have an effect on that person, which made Su-Hyeon surprise that person, then return to Su-Hyeon. Su-Hyeon managed to avoid it. While countering, he was instead kicked in the back by someone else. It didn't stop there. Su-Hyeon was again hit by a different person from the front, and even continued with a kick from another from behind. Su-Hyeon can feel that they are strong, completely different from the other underlings. Then a kick from the last person made Su-Hyeon crash and fall. He thought, why are they so strong? Different from the underlings in the villa, he came to think that these were real people. Then they gathered around Su-Hyun, talking about what they would do with Su-Hyun. But strangely, they even left Su-Hyun. It was because their boss said to forgive the weak, got up and said that he was indeed weak, and of all his crew members, he was the weakest from their 5 punches and kicks earlier. Final masochist card activation start speed increased from E to C, also soil using recovered beans. After which he immediately ran towards the 5 of them. Su-Hyun has managed to beat all 5 people. The Yakuza then called him, heard another Su-Hyun and said, "It's weird he thinks Su-Hyun is enjoying his youth again." He also offered if Su-Hyun likes the sound like that he will do it. "If you make a weird sound I will kill you," said Su-Hyun, who immediately stopped the Yakuza. Then Su-Hyun said that he was practicing to follow Jiho's plan. After that told that Jae-ha asked for a lot of ransom for Kang-sil business, but Kang-sil didn't do it, because he knew the situation. So Kang-sok inevitably had to give some of his territory to Jae-ha. But he didn't want to give it easy, and from their fights the kids just bothered him, so he had time to rest. Therefore, apart from being able to practice in the Gangbok area, and during this rest period, he would use training to get stronger. Because he knew the situation, so Kang-sok inevitably had to give some of his territory to Jae-ha. But he didn't want to give it easy, and from their fights the kids just bothered him, so he had time to rest. Therefore, apart from being able to practice in the Gangbok area and during this rest period, he would use training to get stronger. Because he knew the situation, so Kang-sok inevitably had to give some of his territory to Jae-ha. But he didn't want to give it easy, and from their fights the kids just bothered him, so he had time to rest. Therefore, apart from being able to practice in the Gangbok area, and during this rest period, he would use training to get stronger. Yakuza asked, "Is it okay to use Jiho? What if he betrayed?" Su-Hyun understands what Yakuza means, but for now he thinks differently. The last incident left Hyundo seriously injured, but Su-Hyun does not fully believe in betrayal. Su-Hyun already had other plans. The Yakuza hung up after Su-Hyun's confirmation, and Su-Hyun's plan was to become strong. Then the main quest is updated. The second command appears, which is to make the name of King famous. With this quest, he felt himself going to be busy after school for a while. But for today, he went home first. In a club, someone whispers, a DJ stops the music because the person who tried to come, and it was Gangbok High School's number 20. The guy asks why the music stopped. Is there something urgent? One of his underlings apologized and told the group that Rio had been defeated by a freak with a food bag head. It turns out that number 20 knows all of his men. The Rio is a group that guards an abandoned factory. His subordinates blushed over his boss who knew all of his men. That's why all of his subordinates respect him. The underling said the weirdo's name was Kimbab. From that name, number 20 knows the meaning of the name Kimbab, namely fighting. Then he quoted the words of a German philosopher named Nietzsche, whose contents are to never forget blessings or revenge. While drawing eyebrows, Su-Hyun while sitting on So-Yeon's lap. But he realized, after he said he will draw eyebrows. He kept on shaving his eyebrows. He said that he had not shaved, but Charon saw a shaving scar on his eyebrow. Su-Hyun reasoned again that it was cat claw marks, but Charon is not a fool to believe so easily. Therefore he said he would not draw eyebrows. Their fight started. The student seeing that thought that Sharon had promised. That made Sharon slap him and leave after him. After that, the main quest is updated, the third command to be close to Soha. On the way home, So-Hyun felt weird. Why is this quest close to Soha? Besides that, he doesn't know how to ask for a meeting. Amidst the crowd, a rumor was already circulating. In the middle of society, there are two people who whisper, "Hey, isn't he the runner Kim So-Hyun? The one who stole toilet paper in a public restaurant in a cafe?" Charon can be seen hanging out with her friends asking about So-Hyun and whether Charon likes So-Hyun because of rumors that Charon confessed to So-Hyun. Charon with a red face immediately denied it, but according to their friends, Charon and So-Hyun were having fun. But Charon said So-Hyun likes to joke around like she wants. Even though it was so fun, it felt like she was hitting So-Hyun. Suddenly Sari's surprised, looking towards the window. Turns out she saw So-Hyun with another woman. That woman is Soha. She quickly came here because So-Hyun called him. Meanwhile, Charon shouted for So-Hyun from the second-floor cafe, but So-Hyun didn't hear it. Charon felt that she had seen that woman before, because it was Charon who screamed and said harshly. Her friend became embarrassed and told Charon to sit down while continuing to tease and joke that Charon likes So-Hyun. While Charon thought, are they dating? Soha seems to see Charon. After calling her several times, he just realized and asked what she always saw upstairs. Nothing. Answers Soha. So-Hyun feels that this quest is one of the most difficult quests, and looks for how he can get close to Soha. Besides that, he didn't know about Soha at all. Then So-Hyun asks Soha to go. He offers to go places, but Soha says she doesn't like going anywhere. At So-Hyun's house, her mother asked Da-Hyun if she had a date. Not yet, answered Da-Hyun. Her mother suggested dating a lot so Da-Hyun could tell which guys were trash and which were not. Then her mom asks about Soha, who looks like a good kid. It turns out that Da-Hyun said about that. When she and So-Hyun knew Soha in elementary school, Soha was already really curious about adult things. His mother also felt that Soha had dated, because from what Da-Hyun said, people seemed to have a very competitive spirit and had great curiosity. When you focus on one person and he will become extremely fond of that person. It turns out that Soha made So-Hyun to her house. So-Hyun was shocked. Why did Soha bring him here? Didn't Appa say he wanted to be close to me? Said Soha. Inside the house, So-Hyun sitting in the living room alone, watching boring TV shows while waiting for Soha who hasn't come out of her room yet. Soha, are you still need to take a long time? I want to be close to you. Soha stays at room door. She just thought and was embarrassed that she could invite a man to her house, especially So-Hyun. Because they had no choice, So-Hyun chose to talk to her from outside and told Soha to don't get wrong because he just wanted to be a little closer to Soha, and if Soha was afraid to come out, So-Hyun allowed her to talk there. Soha complied. Then So-Hyun started asking about Soha's favorite things. But from there the quest became close to Soha. It still hasn't been completed. So-Hyun was confused about what the close standard meant. What exactly was it like? So-Hyun had known Soha since elementary school, but she was quiet and shy. So she was only close to Da-Hyun and always walked behind So-Hyun and Da-Hyun. So So-Hyun wasn't close to her from the start. He doesn't know anymore. How to get close to Soha? Then Soha wants to tell about an incident during elementary school. But before that, is it okay to continue her story because from So-Hyun's voice it looks sleepy? But So-Hyun said to continue the story, even though he's actually sleepy. The story happened in elementary school, where So-Hyun took Soha home. But So-Hyun looks do not remember. At that time, So-Hyun was fighting with Da-Hyun. Soha just smiled at them. After that, Da-Hyun asked Soha to stay longer at her house because there was a strange person in the alley, but Soha said that her mother told her not to come home late. So-Hyun offers to drive her home because that weirdo is an old man who just got out of jail. But Soha didn't want to bother them, so Soha walked alone home, and Da-Hyun and So-Hyun returned to their house. Da-Hyun asked So-Hyun, why doesn't So-Hyun like Soha? He answered it was because she was weird, quiet, shy, and always behind him, and suddenly there was a scream. Turns out it was Soha's voice that was disturbed by an old man. Luckily, they weren't far away and helped Soha. But Soha still looks scared and crying. People say, why didn't her parents take good care of her, and this is not the first time this old man have committed a crime? Even though he has been arrested, but what if it happens next time? Apart from being concerned, with that the other day, Soha called her mother to take her home. But mom and dad are busy, so they can't. She hangs up and cries. So-Hyun says, ride, but you have to hold tight because I will never stop pedaling till we cross this scary alley. I won't let you down even if you cry. Even though she was surprised, seeing Su-Hyeon taking the matter back to her house. Then Soha left the room, and sat on the arm of the sofa. From that experience, Soha said Su-Hyeon was the reason she was not afraid to walk in any alley. Besides that, he doesn't remember the length of time other than dropping her off at home at that time, because at that time his heart was pounding very fast. Soha actually wanted to make memories again from that time, but she had to move out. But now she did not expect Su-Hyeon even fell asleep hearing the story. Then Soha saw Su-Hyeon's blazer and took it, then sniffed it. After that, Soha saw Su-Hyeon, and boldly without hesitation brought his face closer to Su-Hyeon. Su-Hyeon had come home from Soha's house. He didn't expect the quest to be close to Soha, even though he felt like he didn't do anything, just sleep. He only knew when he woke up the quest was suddenly finished and Soha went somewhere. But he was curious why there was shampoo smell on his body. The chat was not answered. Soha was angry because he fell asleep, but that doesn't matter to him. The important thing is just one more quest to get a diamond card. Suddenly the main quest is updated. The fourth one appears is to take over the club. Knowing the club has a lot of adults, so he thought that this time he had to go through the gangsters. There are now directions directing him to the quest location. At a club again, this person told Byung-so to turn off the music. It was because there was a strange man with his head covered in a pouch known as King Bak. King Bak was surrounded by people there. Oh, nice to meet you, and say he doesn't know who Netse is. All he has to know is he has to take over this place. So Hyun was ready to fight. Then the number 20's face was shown. He continued to quote the word nice, and told Kimbab to go home. He could forgive Kimbab for touching his people, but going against him was something else, because he felt Kimbab would not be able to win against him. So Hyun peeked at him, and the person's name was shown. His name is Cheonha, number 20. Can beat him. Is it just by defeating the leader or defeating all of his men? Without thinking, immediately took the first step, seeing that shocked him. One of the luggage asked, "What was so surprising for the king bag? He came here alone, not scared at all because of our son, and what shocked me the most, he lost in 3 seconds. It turned out that in just 3 seconds, Su-Hyeon immediately collapsed. These subordinates insulted and looked down on King Bak, then walked up to Su-Hyeon. He told his men not to insult bravery and to show respect to King Bak, even though King knew he would lose, but still came here. From seeing the temporary King Bag fight, he knew King was like learning boxing. His posture was perfect, but there were too many enemies here, and he had no experience fighting many enemies. That's why he lost, wanting to see the identity of the Viking bag by opening the bag of his head who dared to attack the Gangbok region. He says if King's identity is exposed, war will not be avoided. He reached out his hand to open the bag covering King Bak's head. So-Hyun was still conscious. He took Kyona's leg, then used a weight booster, then lifted him up while saying, "From the start, my goal was to catch your leader. How many chiefs do you have here? I will finish them all." Then So-Hyun slammed it down, saying, "Mission accomplished." The man's subordinates were surprised to see him. Meanwhile, So-Hyun wondered why the mission had not been completed. It still hasn't fallen. He sat casually behind So-Hyun as if nothing had happened. Beware of extinguished fire. So-Hyun wonders, why is he still able to get up after being slammed from a height like that? Evidently from the words of his subordinates, he was a judo athlete. Because of that, he's resilient slam. Stood up again, he wondered where the strength of the clamshell had come from to the point where it could lift it. Even though their weight difference was far